Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up.
9 minutes after 6. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. Let's not talk so much about the date. Let's just say it's Friday. Okay? Yeah. It is the day after the 12th.
The day before the 14th.
The day before the 14th. Yeah.
2 days before the 15th.
2 days before the 15th. Yeah. The second Friday of the year. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation, everybody. How you doing? Woken up well or spent the night well? Karibuni sana. We begin the show here and now for the next 4 hours. City Muga.
Yes, please.
Kabisa. Yeah, to fashion statement in it.
Fashion.
Fashion in it. Hey.
Thank you very much.
Kabisa.
Yes, Mupenda.
Total.
Very good.
Uko na ile nini? Chukua your tab, in fact, take him a photo with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. Don't use the S Pen, just use the camera. Piga hiyo picha, alafu we'll post it just now.
Tunafanya, unajua hii sasa ilikuwa imekaa for 4 days.
Oh, now this is the
Sasa
now
this
you're
is
charging.
day 5, we are charging.
We will charge it and then we'll take a photo. Yeah. City Muga looks like the money man that he is.
Hey, sisi unakaa kakiru, man.
Mecheki, eh?
Unakaa kakiru.
Eligible baba.
You're all kinds of silly.
Hey, weekend.
Mambo.
They will know they don't know.
You look at me. Why are
Bwana.
you shy? You look at me.
Ndo, how you?
How do I look? Answer carefully.
Well, apart from smitten, you look fine.
Oh, why? Thanks.
You look well. You shall survive. Don't worry.
Let's do. You mwaka.
You know, a phrase came to mind as I was listening to the two of you. A mad person doesn't have to run naked. Yes, lazima. Mwenda wazimu. Saa zingine na kwa tu jambo la kawaida.
Yes. Don't have to run. Tamjua tu. Aya. Neza Zawa. Welcome to the conversation. Today, we want to talk about rugby. 100 years of rugby in Kenya. City?
Yes, please.
100 years of rugby?
Well, yes.
100? Hey. Yeah?
Yes.
How many of those did you contribute?
Let me see. Contributors in when I first encountered the game to when I stopped playing.
Yes.
I first encountered the game when I was 12 years old. And played until I think I was at 30. Yes.
What position?
I played second row. I played prop at some point because I was big-bodied then. Then it was discovered.
Kazi yako kunyanyua watu.
Yes, then it was discovered I had a little speed. So I became a back. I played full back on occasion.
You became OU.
Yes.
OU.
Yes.
OU.
Then by the time we got to university, I played for Black Blood. Then I was a back. I was, a second center. Yes.
Well, so we'll be having a conversation with two gentlemen. Tell us about the gentlemen.
Well, these two gentlemen, apart from just having played rugby, they've been at the helm of officiating and being administrators within the fraternity of rugby for a long time.
Yes.
There's Zakolo, there's Agri Chebeda. Now, one hears of Safari Sevens. Let's start there.
Yes.
Now, Safari Sevens, one always hears about it and the international fame it has brought the country, but more so because we now have a sevens team that is known throughout the globe.
Yes.
Now, the process and what and how it began, brief history, the gentleman called Dan Buvi Mugo. Okay, Dan was among the people who actually started the Safari Sevens, came up with the idea, brought people and what have you. Then all that was under the rugby union. But after a while, they realized that to raise funds, you probably need to have a group of, let's call them wazees, because that's what we call the people who are, say, like trustees. Now, Wanagre Chebeda led this group for a very long time. And that's what brought Safari Sevens to the point where it was an internationally acclaimed sport. Yes. Now, what then happened and why it didn't go beyond that and how it didn't end up being part of the circuit that we see of the Rugby Sevens, that's something that this gentleman can talk about.
He'll tell us.
Now, Zakolo was part of the management of rugby in this country as well, and he also played. There are people who actually even played for the country. There were trialists that played for the country, played for Mwamba, some played for Harlequins. So, I played for Mombasa. I was even captain of rugby in Mombasa. So, it's a long time. Now, looking at me, I don't look like I can even run 100 meters. But I can assure you I can walk 100 meters.
Safi.
Safi.
That conversation, we will be having it at 7 a.m. today. Yes? We look forward to it. Sana. Ndu.
Yeah,
Tell us about COVID.
I'll do that. Ministry of Health tells us that in the last 24 hours, 24 cases positive from a sample size of 405, and gives Kenya a positivity rate of just under 5%, at about 4.9%. That's what it looks like. Of course, China still making the news with COVID around the world, and latest stories coming out. The World Health Organization reiterated the need for China to share more data on its, guess what, explosive COVID outbreak, while praising Washington's radical transparency in its efforts to battle a new subvariant.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yes.
The World Health Organization has repeatedly voiced concern that China's official statistics are not showing the true impact of its current surge in COVID cases. Who still believes that deaths are heavily underreported in China, according to Emergencies Director Michael Ryan. He blamed Beijing's narrow definition of what constitutes a COVID death, and also pointed to the need for doctors in the public health system to be encouraged to report these cases and not discouraged. In contrast, he hailed the cooperation of authorities in the United States, where the new Omicron subvariant XBB.1.5 is spreading rapidly. There's been radical transparency on behalf of the United States in terms of engaging with the World Health Organization regarding the data and the impact of said data. Maria Van Kerkhove, the WHO World Health Organization's technical lead on COVID, said Washington had supplied virtually all the data available so far, the most transmissible form of COVID being XBB. The subvariant detected in 38 countries clearly has a growth advantage over other forms of the virus, she said. And this is helping us, the transparency of the United States in giving us all of this information, because then it helps us to be able to do our work. In China, meanwhile, Ryan said that despite increased collaboration, we still do not have adequate information to make a full comprehensive risk assessment. China abruptly dropped its zero-COVID approach last month after 3 years of enforcing some of the harshest anti-pandemic restrictions in the world. That unleashed a wave of infections that has packed hospitals and overwhelmed crematoriums. But according to official figures, only 37 COVID-related deaths had been recorded in China since last month, out of a population of 1.4 billion. So, you know, hey.
Okay. It's okay. We wish them well, the people of China. It's 17 minutes after 6. We are live streaming the show and we are seeing all the comments coming in. If you are online, please go on to our Facebook page. It's SpiceFM. And then you will find where we are live streaming the show, and you can post a comment there and tell us where you are locked in from this morning. We love it. And that's why after we take a look at the weather forecast, we will be looking at all the comments that have come in and doing our shout outs to everybody locked in. You can do the same by tagging us on Twitter at SpiceFMKE.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's time to step up and shine. Get instant airtime or data with every purchase of specifically marked tin of black kiwi polish. What do you need to do? Walk to your nearest store, buy a tin of kiwi black shoe polish, and once opened, find a unique code under the lid. Dial *459 *5# and send the code to stand a chance to win 35,000 Kenya shilling school fees every week, courtesy of Kiwi. Step up and shine with Kiwi. Terms and conditions apply.
Behind every crime and murder, there's a reason and a motive. Some dark, some simple, and some unbelievably terrifying. But truth is, no one really knows what happens behind closed doors. Well, until now. I, John Allen Namu, will be opening the last door to reveal the truth behind the nation's most infamous criminal happenings in a new true crime documentary called The Last Door on Maisha Magic Plus DSTV channel 163 and GoTV channel 8. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. as we look into the heart of crime and sieve rumor from truth. Dial *423# to get or stay connected to DSTV or GoTV.
15 degrees and cloudy conditions in Nairobi, highs of 26 and lows of 14. It's cloudy at 14 in Nakuru, highs of 28 and mostly highs of 26. In a cloudy Nyeri at 8. It's 8 degrees and mostly cloudy in Eldoret, highs of 25 and we'll see highs of 31 in a mostly cloudy Mombasa at 25. 27 degrees and cloudy in Malindi, highs of 31. And at 19 degrees, it's cloudy in Kisumu, going to highs of 29. Into Friday, we'll see highs of 31 in a cloudy Kakamega at 14. 19 and cloudy in Kampala, highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 31 in a cloudy Dar es Salaam at 25. It's 11 degrees and cloudy in Johannesburg, highs of 28 and lows of 11, and it's 25 and clear in Lagos. We'll see highs of 33. 30 will be the high in a cloudy Kinshasa at 22. Let's look out into Beijing. Friday afternoon is sunny at 6. That'll be the high, coming down to lows of -5. And it's cloudy with wind storms in Paris at 10 with highs of 11. And it's 11 that will be the high into London today, where it's currently cloudy at 8. 10 degrees and cloudy Thursday night in New York, coming into Friday, highs of 11 and lows of 9.
Chilled Spice. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
So, do you have a DSTV subscription? If yes, do you have access to what? Maisha Magic Plus. If yes, then this Sunday, be ready to watch the second episode of The Last Door, Kenya's newest TV series and the first ever true crime documentary series hosted by the legendary investigative journalist John Allen Namu. Join John as he retraces the last steps of victims of infamous and horrific murder crimes before they met their deaths and what is being done in the pursuit of justice. New episode every Sunday, 8 p.m. on Maisha Magic Plus, DSTV channel 163 and GoTV channel 8. So, at 22 minutes after 6, who is online?
Everybody. Rakama Derek says, good morning out of Nairobi. Good to have you in. Walimu Dominic Chariot says he's tuned in from Kaptarakwa, AMC, Elgeyo Marakwet County. Zeke says he's tuned in this morning. Count me in. That's Daniel Jamhuri. And Atiano Germain says, good morning, tuned in from County 042. There's a place called Nyahera in that county.
All right.
Sindo, where is that county?
Kisumu.
Thank you very much. Good morning, gang. Stop ganging up on CT Yawa. Well, you didn't gang up on him. Can't you say a man is fine? What's wrong? The man is fine. And you, Mia Motley Stan, are tuned in from Trudeau Land. Say hello to the Canadian. Good morning from my sitting room to the situation room. Friday the 13th looks promising. Well, all right. Good. Kiroi, good morning to you. Tuned in from Makadara. And Carol Mbogwa is tuned in as well. Rakama Derek. Paul and Taia from Narok East. Yay. Kakamega County, Eco Locked. Good morning from CK Karu. Kapenguria, the capital of what? is where Dennis is this morning. Kapinguria is in West Pokot. Thank you very much. Collins says, good to see you. Good to see you too. George Machuki, I don't know that we can see you, but okay. George Machuki says he's tuned in from Nyeri, is Mopay. And Cleophas says, it's all by the grace of God that I join you in the room this morning. Good morning, Ndu, Eric, and Muga, tuned in from Nyakach sub-county. Nice watching you guys back home before I retire to bed. You're going to sleep at 6 in the morning.
Who's that?
Trey Mose.
He's watching us back home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isaac Ndereva, our friend, says, good morning. Don't tell me CT is this hot today. Hey, I'm telling you, it's sizzling, my friend. Good morning from Kiabu. Kiabu is hot in here. Good morning, Spice. That's Robert. He's tuning from Mombasa. Mageto Jaja, the name I like, says, good morning, Waku. What's Waku? Waku.
City watatu.
City, 3 of them. Well done. Eric, it's Friday the 13th. Watch our Wogabana. CT, have we left Lesotho yet? And
not yet.
Mr. Kakiru.
This is the last day.
It's the day of Kakiru.
It's the day of Kakiru. Please take us to Lesotho. We know Ndu Bwaki.
Bwakire.
What are those?
Greetings.
Okay.
Umesalimiwa.
Okay. Now watu wa nini?
Mtu anasema nini, Ednah? And then how do you respond? Bwakire buya.
Bwakire buya, Jaja?
Bwakire buya.
Buya. Jaja, I've greeted you in that
language. Hauwezi kusoma kikisi.
I'm very sorry.
Aye.
The Great Wall is okay. Sododero says, I know it doesn't concern you, lakini it rained in our place. Okay. So.
Wow. Congratulations.
Jeps Spree says, good morning, Ndu and the gang. Good morning from Dallas, Texas. Hey, Dallas, Texas. Hata iko hapa kwa studio kwa nini?
Njoi. Tuko nayo
hapa. Matthias Owalo says, Jambo, tail end of my shift, Czech Republic is listening. Karibu sana. And good morning, our very able presenter, Samuel Karanja. We see you. Good morning. Hello from Manila. Mabuhay. Manila is in where? The Philippines. Dikush is tuned in this morning and he says, hope you will have a panel on kabaddi, an emerging sport in Kenya. What are those?
It's a sport called kabaddi. That's all those violence things.
Those violence things. Okay.
People get into a ring and fight.
And beat each other to a pulp. And the one
that bleeds the most.
Wins. The one who bleeds the most.
Or is the one who doesn't die.
Wow. All right. Good morning, guys. Karibuni nyote.
Welcome. City.
Yes, please. A final proverb from the country of Lesotho.
Yes.
Okay. A farmer who does not work under the sun or rain has nothing to harvest at the end of the farming year. This is a statemently proverb.
A farmer who does not work.
Yes. It's like once upon a time there was a farmer who didn't work under the sun
or the rain.
And lo and behold, at the end of the farming year, he had nothing to harvest.
Oh, yeah.
So under all circumstances, come sunshine or rain.
Work.
Yes, shine.
Sawa. Hiyo ni kweli.
Ni kweli kabisa.
Kabisa.
Kabisa. Umenunua kiwi?
Mimi nilinunua kisu.
Sasa uchachinda mara moja unanunua ingine.
Si ndio?
Yes.
I'm going to do like that.
That was for December, surely. You can't tell me the kiwi you bought since then has not been used.
Hata sijatumia.
Nunua ingine. Nunua ingine. Mimi nimenunua lakini sikushinda. Nitanunua ingine. Tell us about it.
Step up and shine with Kiwi. Have an opportunity to win school fees this very long month of January. Everybody's going to be looking for it in about a week or so. Star 495 star 5 hash. My numbers are upside down.
459.
Thank you very much. Star 459 star 5 hash. Yeah. All right. That is what you're going to dial. And then the code that is under the lid of the Kiwi Black Polish that you purchase is what you're going to send to this number. You're going to get some instant airtime or bundles and then also a chance to enter into the draw that could see you winning 35,000 shillings towards school fees. You still have some time to do that. We're going right until the 7th of February. So you have an opportunity to do that. There'll be a weekly winner and you could be one of them. So do it. Step up. Shine with Kiwi.
Yes. Yes. Shall we take a look at the newspaper headlines?
Let's do it.
What's on the front pages?
On the front page of the Standard this morning, it's telling us that cash is king as mobile money fees inflict pain. Somebody called Moses went to court. And he said this thing that you people are doing of now telling us that we're going to have to pay to receive money on our M-Pesa from banks, stop it. Went to court and there's a temporary injunction on that. We'll look at that story and what it means if it would come back. Emotions run high as family and friends eulogize Catherine Kasavuli, and we saw that yesterday. We'll look a little bit more into those details as the world said goodbye to one of Kenya's great news anchors.
Yeah.
It was good to see. It was good to see people coming together in the way in which they did. The tributes that poured in yesterday were quite something. A reminder also was interesting to see from her son saying, you know, watch out for your women suffering from the high occurrences of death from cancer. He says it was interesting to hear him say this is an opportunity to watch out for your sisters, your mothers, your aunts. Encourage them to go for screening. Encourage them to make sure that everything is okay before it's too late. And so that was really encouraging to see him do that, even in the light of grief from his mother's passing. Yeah. On the front page of the Daily Nation, Raila changes tune ahead of Ruto visit in what appears like a decision to put the 2022 elections behind him. Azimio Umoja, one Kenya chief, has advised leaders from Homa Bay and Siaya to welcome the president to their counties and engage him on development matters. The head of state's visit to Nyanza today promises to be different from the October one when elected leaders gave him a cold shoulder. And now they're welcoming him with what?
Open arms. He's the president of the republic.
After all. There's a lot more going on. Windfall tea farmers to get 5.5 billion shillings in pay bonus.
That's a good one.
It is a really good one.
A bonus.
And look at the details of that later. Other things going on, but those are the headlines on The Nation and The Standard.
The Business Daily. Land depreciation hits 7 Nairobi premier suburbs. For decades, investing in land in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, was a sure bet and a safe haven in a market where prices doubled every 2 years, driven by speculation, a bulging middle class, and a club of high net worth earners chasing after assured returns at low risk. But the Business Daily analysis of data covering the past 5 years challenges this trend, and it is showing that at least 7 of the high-end suburbs in Nairobi have lost value by up to 11% between 2018 and 2022. Reflecting the stagnation demand for Grade A office space and high-end residential apartments as a result of oversupply. We are talking about Upper Hill, Westlands, Kilimani, Parklands, Kileleshwa, Gigiri, Lavington, and Runda. Depreciation. Another headline. State bursts recurrent budget forecast by 81.7 billion shillings. Do you understand what that means?
Nope.
President William Ruto's administration projects expenditure for day-to-day running of the government to be 81.7 billion shillings, more than what the previous regime budgeted, pointing to piling spending pressure, including salaries and wages. The Treasury has forecast recurrent budget for the financial year ending June to top 2.35 trillion shillings. That's a 2.35% rise over 2.27 trillion estimates by his predecessor's administration that handed over power in September. In other words, by the end of this financial year, they'll have spent more than what they had said they were going to spend. What's new? NHIF drops 43% of members for defaulting on contributions. The High Court suspends bank to mobile money charges.
That's the one.
Yeah, for a bit. And then Elon Musk's company, the satellite internet firm Starlink, has announced it will launch in Kenya in the second quarter of this year. What?
They're coming.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
They are coming. Second quarter from March. Yeah. Nairobi, the Star City.
The headline, many headlines. U-turn, Raila's troops now embrace Ruto. Okay. Of interest, Siasa at the right-hand top corner of the Star. Will CS Kindiki win banditry war where others have failed?
Big question, that one.
Is it not? All right. Then, on the side, super gonorrhea headache. Yes. Doctors confirm getting many untreatable cases of STIs from Nairobi and Kiambu.
What? There's
Yes.
an alert.
Yes, there's been one for some days.
Treatment defying.
Treatment defying. Usually you'll be able to get a shot
And you're okay.
And
This
you're
one,
all right.
you get a shot and
you're
the
still
status
coming
quo is
back
still
with
maintained.
symptoms.
Come back.
Yes.
Another shot, nothing.
Yeah, it's still
Nada.
maintained. So then they have to up it.
What does upping mean?
What it means is that there's what you call first line treatment. When it goes beyond that, no.
He thinks
No.
where Eric is heading with his question
Eric.
is that whether there will be amputation of sorts.
No. I know exactly what this man is thinking. He is thinking injection, and I can see what he's thinking about the injection. I see you, Eric. I see with clarity. No. You simply now get on.
So go from first line to another
You go
second
to
line
second
of
now.
treatment.
You decide,
blah,
okay,
blah.
this stuff isn't working. Let's try something else. If that isn't working, you get now. Ordinary handgun isn't working. The rifle isn't working. The semi-automatic isn't working.
Nuclear.
You know.
Nuke the thing.
Exactly. Because even bazooka's not working. You nuke it.
It's 26 minutes to 7. Let's take a quick break. We take a look at the traffic and then we come back and look at this newspaper headlines in detail. Is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra still charging?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
Don't
it keeps
worry.
charged for 3 days.
It's been on for some like 4 days now. So now today said, okay. Just
Today
allow me
is for
to do it.
charging. Okay, and you're using a fast charger.
Yes, please.
Okay, so when you finish, you take a good photo of Bonaciti Muga, so you can post it and share his glory
Sizzling
for
hot.
eternity. It's a whole point.
He's pretending like he can't hear you.
Of course.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
London Mulwa DJ Absolute. When the gang is together.
Got the sugar, got the spice.
Yorada,
Yes.
I have missed you like hot hamburgers. Yeah?
Like hot hamburgers.
You know, bad boys give more money than you can count.
Hey, bad boys give more money than you can count.
Then
If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock, but if I were you, I'd tune in to
Sugar and Spice only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
so if you say it's on, then it's
All right,
on.
it's about 25 minutes to 7 o'clock, and let's see what's happening on these streets. There's a little bit of traffic that has started on Mombasa Road, but it looks all right for now. There's in and outbound traffic on Likoni and Jogo Road, as usual, doing the business, getting folks to the city. As you get to the roundabout at the City Stadium, it's going to slow down just a tad. Manyanja Road then connecting with Outer Ring, also some traffic there. Looks like Outer Ring is going to do the business today and be quite busy. Hey, a river runs through it. Nairobi River, cutting across First Avenue in Eastleigh. Just saw that and I thought, I'd tell you. Anyway, coming off Thika Superhighway, we have some traffic then getting towards that neck at the Pangani underpass. But apart from that, it's free flowing without too much of an issue. Fingers crossed. Limuru Road is free. Get on it now, because in another half an hour, you're going to wish you had if you haven't. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's talk there and try as much as possible to do what? Keep things moving.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice
Let me
FM.
tell you about this story of folks who went to court. One man, rather, who went to court and said, you know what? You've not been charging us all this time. Now life is already hard. Can you stop it? The court has barred banks and telcos from charging mobile fees. The High Court in Nairobi has barred banks and mobile service providers from effecting money transfer charges. Justice Mugoro Tande ordered that lenders and telcos should wait until January 23rd, when a case filed by Moses Wafula will be heard. Wafula is seeking to have telcos and banks barred from reintroducing charges for mobile wallet and bank transactions as directed by the Central Bank of Kenya through a December 6th press release. Mr. Wafula's lawyer, Irene Nafuna, told the court that it would be impossible to recoup fees collected from mobile money subscribers if the court does not intervene. If the banks continue riding on this M-Pesa pay bill infrastructure, making money from members of the public, and in the event that this honourable court finds this M-Pesa pay bill platform to be in contravention of the Constitution and various statutory provisions, the impact will be higher. More funds from members of the public would have been lost, and it may be a lot more difficult to task the banks to refund such funds collected. Mobile service providers started charging their customers for transactions with their banks from January 1st. This is despite court orders freezing the exercise. Wafula has sued Safaricom, Central Bank of Kenya, the Attorney General, Communications Authority of Kenya, and the Competition Authority of Kenya. He argues that it is unfair and illegal for Safaricom to charge customers while it acts as a collection agent for banks. According to him, the charges should be between the banks and Safaricom. You people should charge yourselves. Leave us alone. It's our money, as CT would say. It's my money. You deal with yourselves. You have the platform, you have the money, it's ours. Okay? Commercial banks were charging between 30 and 197 shillings for every transaction before the fees were halted in March 2020 owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. The idea was to contain the spread of the disease through cashless transactions. Although this was a relief for consumers, the freeze meant banks would lose millions from the electronic transactions. But the coin has now flipped in the bank's favour, leaving their clients in distress. Wafula asserts that Safaricom has no power to collect money from consumers on behalf of banks. The case also questions the legality of charges that Safaricom imposes on users using the pay bill option when making payments for various goods and services. Wafula argues that traders, institutions and service providers pass the costs of transactions to consumers, while they are the ones they have binding contractual agreements with and should therefore shoulder the charges. It is you who has the whatever. Deal with yourselves. Leave us alone. So 23rd of January, you like it, don't you?
Of course.
23rd of January is when this case will be heard, and then we will know if we will continue paying the charges.
We won the Bonga points case.
You won the Bonga points?
Now we didn't win this one.
Oh, okay. You're on a roll. We won. Have you heard our
This
we
one?
won?
Justice Friday.
This is coming.
Yes.
It's coming. What is this? But if you think about it, though, Wafula did a good thing because it raises that question up in the public. So I have an agreement with the bank.
Yes, I do.
I will bank with you. I'll open an account with you, whatever kind of account I'm opening with you.
And then
right?
I have that account with you.
And then I have that account with you. When I need to withdraw, I'll come to you. I'll withdraw my money. When I need to deposit, I'll come to you. I'll deposit the money. In comes Safaricom with technology. They go to the bank and they tell the bank, you know what? How about I make it easier for you and your customer to interact? So if the customer wants to come to withdraw money, instead of them coming all the way to the banking hall and dealing with your teller and queuing and you have to give them sweets and tea, and how about you just allow them to do it remotely? Bank says, yeah, that's good.
Plan. Good plan.
So for that, my technology would cost this much. Oh, yeah, good plan. And then the bank charges you for that.
The bank says, now, these guys have come to tell us there's an easier way for us to transact, but you will pay for it, for your money.
A plan which you, the bank, and Safaricom...
You people agreed. When you people will agree, you didn't call... Public participation?
Yes, you decided. We don't have a problem with you deciding.
But it's our money.
And the option is actually there, and we thank you for the option. But as our brother clearly states it is the two of you who agreed on this thing.
Yes.
Sort yourselves out.
Share the cost.
Yes,
Leave us
by all
alone.
means. The bank and us, we already have an arrangement of the charges that they take from us. That one we've already agreed. We don't
Every
have a
month you
problem.
remove your something.
Can
Yes.
you imagine? And look, so for every transaction, the bank will still charge you.
Yes.
All right, whether you go into the ATM,
Or
you walk
off the
into the
counter,
banking hall,
yes.
you will be charged.
I think they even
per
charge you
transaction.
they even charge you for depositing money.
They charge you for every transaction,
Every transaction.
credit or debiting your account.
So we have an arrangement with the bank, and we have accepted this arrangement. It's the bank who have this arrangement with Safaricom or with Airtel.
It's like
or
telling me
whoever.
if I come to the banking hall, I'll pay the teller.
Yes. But that's not. It's not like telling you. That's what it is.
I'll pay the teller.
Yeah.
In fact, the teller will give me a piece of paper. This piece of paper has been supplied by Kartasi brand. I will buy the paper from Kartasi brand so that I can jazz her the amount of money that I want. When I give the teller and the teller gives me money, I will pay the teller. What are you doing?
Eric, the analogy you've given is actually an excellent one, because essentially that platform that Safaricom offers is the same platform that the teller offers.
Yes.
It's the same.
It is.
Yes.
It's just that now there's another option where it's made easier for you guys, so your teller doesn't need to sit there and serve 1,000 people per day. But then now you're telling me I'll pay for it. No, you're already receiving money from me to keep my money.
As I said, we won the bongo points one.
Watch.
This will be very interesting to
Watch
see what happens.
This will be an interesting one. Indeed. Indeed.
They're also saying that, the rise in these charges could spark more cash transactions. And you remember, a lot of folks, as I ran into somebody the other day, he said, I can't even remember the last time I carried my wallet, save for my ID or whatever.
Yeah.
Because all of your transactions are on the phone, isn't it? So now, with the charges...
Even
and folks are
walking
saying,
to an ATM, I don't remember
the last time you
I
did that.
walked. Yes.
Right, exactly. And people are saying, you know what? Why are we making noise? 60 shillings is... Excuse me?
What? 60 shillings is a
60
lot of
shillings
money.
is a lot of money. You can imagine the transactions that you're doing. You're paying for this. The world has become mobile. You're paying for this, paying for this,
You
paying for
receive
the other
money,
thing.
you deposit in the account, you remove.
You just sit one day and look at the amount of money that you spend on transactions in 24 hours. You'll be very surprised.
By the way,
just look through your messages and then do plus.
Just when you thought it was safe to get out of the water, banks are actually going to increase the interest rate that they charge their customers.
Kwanza that one.
Oh, see.
Just so that you know.
Kwanza that one. There's a story. In fact, now that you've mentioned it, where is that story?
We have to talk about
Page
it.
27. Let's just go straight into it, okay? Page 27 of the Standard this morning is telling... Where's you? Page 27. When I have people to read
It's
to.
your fingers that are doing the walking.
More pain for borrowers as cost of loans hits a new peak of, guess, 19%.
Yes.
Banks have steeply increased the cost of loans with interest rates of up to 19%, leaving their customers with a massive debt servicing burden. The increments come at a time when the high cost of living is already squeezing Kenyans hard. This follows the widespread adoption of the risk-based rating of loans by a majority of the country's nearly 40 banks. A spot check by the Standard showed several banks have been writing to their customers explaining the change under the new terms. For example, this one, Equity Bank received approval from the CBK to implement risk-based pricing when lending to customers, said Kenya's largest bank by customer number in one such notice. The new pricing model applies a reference rate, in this case Equity Bank reference rate, currently at 12.52%, plus a margin currently at a maximum of 8.5% per annum. 12.52 plus 8.5?
20.75.
That's the interest, my friend.
Let me ask you, Moses Wafula can also go to court for this one?
The man is free to go walk from this court to the next.
Senor,
Yes.
we can ask him to.
Oh, yes.
This is
That
ridiculous.
doctor. The other doctor, see, there is the Nakuru doctor of the Nini. Can take up this one for us. Risk-based pricing refers to the practice of setting or adjusting the price and other terms of credit offered or extended to a particular consumer to reflect the risk of non-payment of their loan by that customer. What does that mean?
It means you'll be charged more.
Information from a consumer report is often used in evaluating the risk posed by the consumer. Banks are under the new regime expected to offer more favorable terms to consumers with good credit histories and less favorable terms to consumers with poor credit histories. Now, here's a if it is based on, there's a base rate. The equity reference rate is at 12.52%. So tunaanzia hapo. Now, the rest is where we are negotiating. Is it going to 8.5%? Or shall we look and see, well, yeah, you've been servicing your loan, so we'll make it 8%. And hive off the 0.5. So you still pay 20%.
What difference does it make?
Bankers, through their lobby yesterday, defended the ongoing interest rate hikes under the new regime, saying the new model will allow the free flow of credit to those previously shunned by lending institutions as they were deemed risky borrowers, albeit at a premium. So we'll lend you money. But of course, we're going to charge you 30%. Each bank developed its risk-based pricing model that requires CBK approval before implementation. Most banks have by now received CBK approval and then proceed to implementation. During the capping period, there was credit rationing where a number of high-risk borrowers could not access credit because their risk profiles could not fit in the capped rates. Habil Olaka, the CEO of the Kenya Bankers Association, said banks will now be able to engage the segment of borrowers who could not access credit because banks were unable to appropriately price them. We will ask Dr. Habil Olaka to join us next week to explain this story.
I know.
So previously, the thing was that there were people who could not access credit. Why? Because they were deemed too risky, especially during that the interest rate capping period. Okay? Now banks are saying, so we're having a conversation with the central bank and saying, this is how we assess our risk. This is our risk-based pricing model. Central bank says, go ahead. It's based on a bank's base rate, and then they look at the negotiation. So that shoots up credit to 19% and above. They say, okay, so previously you were coming to us and we could not give you money because it's too risky. Now we'll give you money.
Figure out, but now we'll charge you to your intestines.
Yep.
Before, like 6 months ago, a year ago, I used to think that maybe CT is too heavy on these guys.
On banks.
Yeah, like everything, they breathe and CT saying, these guys. They sneeze, CT saying, these guys.
Banks.
Now.
You're in the bandwagon.
Maybe.
These guys.
I am. You see the guy in front who is holding the things, beating the horse. Kacha!
Yes.
I'm there. I'm there.
You're right there with them.
Yep.
There's an related story, where is it? It's on the fact that the government has gone to the market and people are not taking the government paper. It's in the Business Daily. It's related. Investors' apathy in local treasury bills and bonds has opened a 128.1 billion shilling hole in the budget. New data from the National Treasury shows that net domestic financing in 5 months of the fiscal year to November missed the target by a quantum 128.1 billion shillings, with attained financing of 180.7. This domestic financing was below the target of 128 billion, attributed to liquidity challenges in the domestic debt markets. The observed liquidity challenges, as indicated by the National Treasury, have been traced by analysts to the allocation of funds to the short-ended treasury bills against risks emanating from a rising interest rate environment. Higher yields on government paper have disincentivized investors from locking up capital from long periods, with the result of the investor apathy being mirrored in treasury bond auction across 5 months.
What are they saying?
Very many things. They're basically saying that the central bank is going for treasury bills and people are not buying the
So what does that mean?
T-bills.
What does that mean? Is it a vote of no confidence in the central bank? Is it a vote of no confidence in the government? Is it...
or that people just don't have it?
No. Because the people they are targeting, the money is there. The money is there. But why are they not taking? Because this is something that people would snap up. Why are they not snapping it up?
I think one of the options that you gave, investor confidence.
Yes.
Investor confidence is a major thing when it comes to, people are doing a wait-see kind of thing. Are things going to stabilize and then we can see where to put our money? People often do that.
One of the things that often happens to economies, the moment you have IMF and World Bank and their ilk coming in and telling us how to behave, it's actually a vote of no confidence. Usually it's not a vote of confidence. Because essentially they're telling you how to run your country.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. Now, anyone who wants to invest feels, by the time these guys are telling you how to behave, it's clear that you've been misbehaving. And that may not necessarily be the case.
According to them.
Yes.
The misbehavior is according to them.
Yeah, this financial economic speak here, right? It's couched in many, many words. Many words. But when a product that usually people rush to buy is suddenly not being bought in a rush, you have to ask the question, what really is going on here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us that's something that you're looking at in there.
Yes. I want to look at this, the issue of the STIs, that one was straightforward. I mentioned it.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's being noticed in Kiambu and Nairobi in a statement that the STI, specifically gonorrhea, that is resistant.
Super gonorrhea.
Meaning that thing, my friend, has proved to be bulletproof.
Super.
They inject your bum, nothing happens. They inject your arm, nothing happens. So they have to go and look for something far more powerful.
Yes.
To inject.
Yes. A
Like
lot of
your
thing
brain.
where they inject one part of your body, but you feel pain in another part. That sort of thing.
There was a story 2 years ago, internationally.
Yes.
Let me read one which was published on the Forbes magazine. Super gonorrhea may be spreading from antibiotic overuse for COVID-19 coronavirus. 2 years ago. All right. Super gonorrhea is trending on Twitter right now. That was when in 2020. It's 2020, and what better thing to have trend at the end of the year that brought us the COVID-19 corona than a shortage of basically everything than that one. If you haven't figured it out yet, this is how this writer wrote this down. If you haven't figured it out yet so far, super gonorrhea is not super to have. Okay? It will not prompt you to tell your partner, well, I just came from the doctor's office and I've got,
I
super
have.
gonorrhea.
Yes.
Yeah? Telling them that you have super gonorrhea would be about as positive as saying that you have sexy syphilis or candy-coated chlamydia. Anyway, so there was that story around that time, and it was being attributed then to overuse of antibiotics in the treatment of COVID-19.
Right.
Terrain.
There's this article that I mentioned.
Yes.
Where it was in the form of a question, the Siasa section in the Star. Will CS Kindiki win banditry war where others have failed? Okay. The story about banditry and how that war can be won, every time you look at it, it has to do with strong-armed people with some serious heavy weaponry going into an area looking for these bandits and shooting the hell out of them, isn't it? And somehow, even when that happens, give it a bit of time, they rear their heads again. And yet there are areas in the country where we had such issues. And that banditry story ended. The Mount Elgon area had serious issues. You don't even hear a squeak. Okay? Now, what am I saying? This thing of taking these heavily bodied, heavily armed individuals is all good and well. But what is it that attracts young people? Because the people who are fighting are not old men like myself. It is young people who are mobile, who have the world at their feet, who have the future ahead of them. What can be done to ensure that there's an alternative engagement that can be seen as being profitable? Because banditry, the way I see it, is a business.
Yeah.
So what else can be introduced into these economies that will guarantee that it provides a buffer, it provides an alternative, so that someone, instead of choosing to be a bandit, you have the option of doing this, and there'll be examples of people who've benefited from that particular option.
That's true. We can't run away from the fact, though, that there are those who are looking for the opportunity, so banditry then becomes attractive, right? But then there's also the person who is behind it.
Yes.
The businessman, the businesswoman, who is making sure that these bandits have the artillery and all of the ammunition to be able to fight. So there's somebody who's fueling these things. We can't run away from that. When we look at them being hungry for money in their pocket, there is also the one behind the scenes who is hungry for their businesses to continue to flourish. They may not want to admit it, but we know that there are people behind these things.
Look at, if you want to understand the possibilities of change, let's look at our politics with regards to opposition politics in this country. It's always been very loud. It has been very confrontational and essentially in your face. Okay? I'm reading today's papers and I'm seeing a complete... The Star puts it correctly. It's a U-turn. What you expect isn't what's happening here.
You're getting words.
Yes.
It's words and more words and words and
Yes.
more words. And
Yes. Meaning these situations that appear to be intractable can change.
Yep.
And even places where people felt... Remember yesterday when we were having this little chit-chat about the drought and starvation and malnutrition. And we had a Mheshimiwa here. What did she tell us? There's a story that was prevalent in Ukambani for the longest time.
Yep.
Why is it that you don't hear that same story? What happened?
Yep.
Change is possible.
It's possible.
And even in these mandatory areas, it is possible.
It is possible. It's very much possible. And all we're hearing a lot of is a lot of talk. Yesterday, this week, the president has been at the pass-out parades at Kiganjo, in Embakasi for the APs, and yesterday again for the GSU.
Yes.
And all he's been saying is, we are going to make sure that we eliminate banditry. As we speak, yesterday, 7 people were killed in Marsabit.
Yes.
In a banditry attack.
Is this not a pattern? They
Among
make an
the
announcement,
children.
some people are
People
killed.
are killed.
Yeah.
The president himself makes an announcement, there's an attack, people are killed.
Yeah.
So, it's like the bandits are saying, what did you say?
Yeah.
Let's just remind you who's
Yes.
At huko Kenya wanasemaje? Huko Kenya wanasema nini? Hiyo nasikia huko wanaongea sana. Chatuonyeshe. Surely. Anyway, you have your Samsung Z Flip 4 and you'd like to watch the best content. Now you also have Showmax on your mobile device. Now, can you imagine that combination? The Z Flip 4, good, or even the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra with S Pen with 14.6-inch screen. Basically, you're watching your TV
in your hands
as you walk around using your Showmax. So if you get Showmax mobile subscription, you can watch all this wonderful content wherever you are. Good morning, 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Atseto. President William Ruto has directed security personnel to deal firmly with cattle rustlers and bandits in the northern part of the country. Speaking during the 49th passing out parade of the GSU recruits at Embakasi Training College, Ruto said the new cohorts will be deployed on need basis to provide security and restore order in troubled parts of the country.
We shall no longer follow the tradition of putting cattle rustlers, bandits, and other criminals on notice. Instead, we will move resolutely and systematically to take measures to make our presence, intent, and capability evident for all to see. The interests of Kenyans are not to be infringed without serious consequences. I repeat that the rights, freedoms, lives, and livelihoods of the citizens of the Republic of Kenya shall not be interfered with without a robust and effective response.
And the head of state will today be touring Nyanza region, which is considered Raila Odinga's political stronghold. This is the second time the head of state will be visiting Nyanza since October last year. During the first visit, leaders in Nyanza boycotted the visit, but it seems to be different this time round as he is expected to meet various leaders. The head of state will be received by Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga, who has asked the residents to welcome the president, saying that she is ready to cooperate with him to achieve development projects in the area. While in Homa Bay, Ruto is expected to launch the first phase of the construction of 5,000 affordable houses. Homa Bay County was the first to sign a contract for the construction of houses in 2018 and has allocated 11.6 acres of land for the project. And the government says that it will complete all development projects initiated by President Uhuru Kenyatta in Nyanza region. Speaking in Kisumu, State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed announced that President William Ruto's 2-day tour of the region won't only revolve around launch of development projects but also engagements with regional leaders.
The President will launch several projects that directly impact on the lives of the people, in line with the government's bottom-up economic agenda that places premium, of course, on economic transformation, especially for those at the bottom of the economic pyramid. You will recall that the President was here in October 2022 and made several pledges. He'll be returning to fulfill some of those pledges.
Now, detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations spent the better part of Thursday tracing the last moments of slain model Edwin Kiprotich alias Chiloba. In tow was the main suspect in the murder, Jackton Odhiambo, who was assisting police in the investigations. Forensic experts from the homicide department of the DCI began their assignment at the Noble Breeze apartment along 10 Eldoret Road. The late Chiloba and Odhiambo shared a house at his apartment building, a house that Chiloba is said to have been murdered at before his body was stashed in a metal box and later dumped kilometers away. Armed with cameras and other equipment which they used to dust the house, the officers took hours combing the scene and collecting any forensic material. They also recorded statements from witnesses, including the apartment's caretaker. After almost 2 hours, the detectives left for the scene where the body of Chiloba was discovered along Kipkenyo-Kaptinga Road in Kipkaren area on the outskirts of Eldoret town. The officers processed the scene, taking notes and any detail that can help in the ongoing investigations. The officers also spent time in a car that is currently detained at Langas police station that is suspected to have been used to transport the body from the scene of the murder to Cape Kenya. Later in the evening, the officers visited the house of Jackton Odhiambo, the main suspect in the murder case in Kisumu area, where they recovered some of Chiloba's belongings. The detectives are expected to visit a club where Chiloba and the suspect are said to have partied a day before his murder. And 8 people have been confirmed dead and 3 others injured in a bandit attack at Yel Kurkum village in Laisamis, Marsabit County. Confirming the incident, Marsabit County Police Commander Robinson Boloi said about 15 bandits armed with firearms raided the village. The attackers are said to have opened fire, killing 8 people, among them 3 children and 5 men. According to the police commander, the bandits made away with an unknown number of camels and goats during the attack. 2 of the injured were taken to Marsabit Referral Hospital. A multi-agency security team has since been deployed to pursue the attackers. And the Nairobi High Court has granted the police 2 weeks to complete investigations into the death of rally driver Asad Khan. The investigations has shifted from the grievous harm to murder, and rally driver Maxine Wahome is under investigation for her boyfriend's death. The matter will be mentioned on the 30th of this month. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The Spice Newswire is brought to you by Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Go ahead and get yours today. It's your time.
All right, we're coming into traffic hour at a few minutes after 7 o'clock, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty busy morning. Coming off a Thika Superhighway, there's traffic going right through to the Pangani Underpass, and that's really heavy inbound. Also, Kiambu Road looks like it's going to do something at some point. I told you half an hour ago to leave when you were. But now you might be stuck. Limu Road also building up here and there, and we're looking at coming into the city from the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. Traffic there also building up. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty busy Friday. Coming off Jogo Road is also busy as well. And we're looking at traffic that started on Mombasa Road a little bit here and there, connecting with North Airport Road out towards Outer Ring. And it looks like a busy morning from around now. Getting into traffic hour, let us know what's going on where you are. Want to keep things moving this morning. Hopefully we can keep things tight and not too crazy.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room,
7 minutes.
the only way to start your day.
Good morning and welcome to Friday, the 13th of January, 2023. City, that jingle for Kiwi, which one was it?
Ebu.
Ebu jitokeze.
I like how he can just say one word and look at you and you expect to fill in the blanks.
Ebu. I'm not even singing.
He said jingle. Now, jingle begins with a word. So the word here is Ebu. Then you jazz a sentence.
I love it.
Simama. Mbele ya watu.
But Eric, you know, we need to tell our friends that people are actually allowed to laugh on this show.
Really?
Yes.
Now and then.
We have two guests in the studio.
Just, you know.
Go with it. Go with the flow.
Yes.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Ndu?
Yes.
Ebu, tell us about this Kiwi story.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
40 ml, 80 ml, 32 grams, or what is that one?
This one is 100 ml, 80 grams.
Grams. Thank you very much. The black
Shoe.
the Kiwi black shoe polish. No, shoe. Okay. So it's available at your supermarkets, and they're saying there's an opportunity for you to step up and shine with Kiwi and have an opportunity also to win school fees, 35,000 shillings. It's not a small money. You pick up a tin of this, and under the lid is a code. You will dial *459*5#, and you will enter that code. You win airtime. When you bought the polish, did you get your airtime?
Yeah,
Or your bundles?
I got bundles.
You got bundles?
I got bundles.
Well done. You also have a chance to enter into the draw. It's a weekly draw that could see you win 35,000 shillings towards school fees. So you can step up and shine.
Just like that.
Simama
mbele ya watu. Fiatu fiako fingare. City Muga is he's not holding it. His Samsung Galaxy S8 Tab S8 Ultra is still charging.
Yes.
Well, lakini usi overcharge tafadhali.
Jolly.
Yeah, usi overcharge, unajua pia usiharibu battery. But so now City has the Z Flip 4, from which is going to tell us the proverb from Lesotho.
Yes, this is our final proverb from the country of it's pronounced Lesotho, but it's written Lesotho. Okay? Right. A farmer, it's a bit of a... Yes. A farmer who does not work under the sun or rain has nothing to harvest at the end of the farming year.
A farmer who does not work in the rain or sunshine.
Sun or rain. And it's not rain shine. It's the sun is on, it shines. Rain just rains, it pours. Has nothing to harvest at the end of the farming year.
Okay.
Yes. Simple, straightforward proverb. Lengthy though, but simple, straightforward.
It's direct. It's direct. Yep. Ukitaka kuoga, shati vue.
Sio hivyo na lazima ujitumbukize kwa maji.
Let's talk about rugby. 100 years of rugby in Kenya. 2023 minus 100.
1923.
Like that.
I mean, surely. What do you want?
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. She took so long.
No, 23.
How long did it take?
She's like
23 ukitoa 23.
20 minus 19 is 1.
Well, that thing is, that is long.
20 minus 19 is 1.
How are you taught maths?
23
minus 23 is 00.
Exactly.
And then the other one.
100.
Yes.
100.
Yes.
Sawa bana. Ni sawa. We have two guests who are joining us in the studio. Zakolo is a former rugby player and he's also an author. And Agri Tabeda is the managing director of Sports Options Limited. Also a rugby aficionado. Shall I call you that? Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good to have you on Kenya's biggest conversation this morning. Karibuni sana. And they've come with a big book. City, I book past this book.
All right.
Yeah.
But this book, if you haven't gone to the gym, you'll have problems carrying it. It's not on these things you're going to carry. Let me hold it carefully.
It's 100 years heavy. A Century of Pride by Zakolo. Very, very nice book. You know, it's called what, a coffee table book. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Sasa si Ednah uweke hii picha hapo ndio watu waone vile tunasema. 100 years of rugby in Kenya, the origins, development and history of the game in the East African territory and Kenya in particular is documented in snippets in a variety of publications, and it remains largely unavailable to the rugby enthusiast and the Kenyan sportsman or historian. However, this book now brings all those together, and that's the work that Zach has done. Welcome, and thank you very much for coming and bringing me this book, Zach.
Thanks, Eric. By the way, you will note that the 100 is a small plus.
100 plus years. Yes, it's 100 plus years. It's more than 100. So it's not just from 1923. It goes beyond that, from the protectorate and all. Okay, let's first of all know who Zach Ono is.
I am first and foremost a rugby player and rugby administrator. That's what I've done most of my life. In my spare time, I've actually been in financial services. I was in insurance.
In your spare time.
In your spare time. I love it.
I hope my past employers don't hear this. So I'm following upon my rugby heritage. I decided I would write a book on it. I am married with. I had 2 kids. Lost one. So now I'm basically a retired financial services executive.
Okay. And you spend a lot of your time now doing what?
Spend a lot of my time now researching. This is not the only book I've done. I've done I've done another book on a different topic, and I'm researching other topics. So I'm more or less morphing into a writer.
You have already morphed into one. So you're not morphing.
Not morphing.
You're already it.
You're a completely morphed individual.
Yeah, full butterfly.
Yes.
Beautiful wings. Agri, you are known by many who have seen you, but maybe others have not seen you. So who's Agri Chabed?
Thank you for having me. A sports consultant. Have been many things. I'm an electrical engineer by training. For many years, I was an electrical contractor. But again, on my spare time, I would say, which morphed into almost full time. Again, I was a rugby administrator for a very long time. I've been an administrator at Kenya Rugby. We've been able to run various tournaments in the past, Safari Sevens, Rugby Super Series. Later on, as I tried to move away, I ran into Supersport, who are the ones who converted me now into a full-time sports consultant. I did a lot of work with Supersport for several years. Then now we are retired. Past chairman of the Rugby Patron Society, which is basically people who've gone out to pasture and are trying to put something back into the game. Yes.
What is putting something back into the game?
The Rugby Patron Society is an interesting body. It was actually formed in 1953, and then it re-engineered itself in 1967. And some of the things they've done in the past is, for example, they are the ones who started the Safari Sevens and ran it and funded it while it could not make any money. And from 1996, and then it started making money around, I think, 2001, 2. And by 2006, it was handed over to Kenya Rugby to run it. The organization then moved on, and it funded the borehole at the RFUA for water to be able to make sure that the pitch is in playable condition. It also was behind the big stand that's on the Ngong Road side that was put up. And then after that, we went into rugby grassroots development. We decided to focus on what we might call the disadvantaged areas because we felt there was already a lot of programs like that in schools and other areas. So within Nairobi, we have 4 centers, one in Githogoro. Githogoro is on Runda. We have 3 other centers, one in Matasia, one in Bulbul, and one in Kibiko. Yeah, and that's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looking at the progression of sport generally in the country, and then looking at 100 years of rugby in Kenya, perhaps previously it was seen as something that you do if you were able-bodied. And then looking at now what you were able to do, what has been done with young people, taking sports to the grassroots, taking rugby to the grassroots. We looked at the progression of sport and it became, from something that you did over the weekend or something that you did after school to something that then became a career for many, many young men and women in Kenya. It became really something to be sought after. How have you seen that progression from something that was maybe just seen as extracurricular or co-curricular, and then really became something that people could invest their lives in?
And I think the irony is that that progression has not been across the board. That in one respect, the game outside schools has progressed very well into professional, from just kicking about into a professional game. But when it comes to schools, you see that the progression has been in reverse. That and this is something that C.T. Muga and I had a laugh about the other day. That we went to schools where you went to school in the morning and in the afternoon it was games every day.
Yep.
So we only had 5 or 6 hours of classwork. But today you find that most of the same schools, people they're going to class up to 6 p.m. So that progression has been in reverse. And I'm not too sure that that's a good thing.
So are we saying then that for the folks who've been able to professionalize it for themselves, then the aspect of education then has not been paid attention to? Or that rugby being practiced in school is not being given the adequate attention that it must, if folks will then professionalize it later?
I think the latter is the case.
Okay.
That if it was given sufficient attention, then you would have a better outcome at the end of the pipeline. And that the professional players would be a lot better and benefit more from it. Particularly because rugby, I suspect, unlike most other sport, the younger you get into it, the better the outcomes.
Yeah, I'd agree with him. I think if let's just mention CBC, which has been is what is going to take the country's education system forward. I've gone through it. I just don't see the word sport anywhere. Yeah, and that just tells you that going forward, sport is something that people will do either because they want to do it themselves or they have to wait until they finish school.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So are we doing enough? I mean, I thinking about myself, I went to a school where the same thing happened.
Yeah.
That you were in school during the morning and early afternoon, but there was every day plus the weekend whereby you were actively engaged in sports. And I'm not just talking about kicking a ball around. I'm talking about like actively engaged in sports, because there were other things that were taught. There was discipline that was taught. There was management that was taught. There was so many other things that were taught. So do you think that there needs to be focus on this and I'm not even going to call it extra, this co-curricular discipline, sport being one of them, in the current education system in the country?
Yeah, I think it's not just focus. It has to be embedded into the curriculum. So that it's then budgeted for, then the whole system and the school makes sure that sport will be part of the education of the young people. I have been to 1 or 2 schools, and what I have seen is spaces that were previously allocated to grounds are being converted into more concrete and more classrooms, and and that just tells you that it's not important. I have a niece who recently finished Form 4, and I was surprised one time because I was trying to push her to do sports when I went to the school, and it's in Nairobi here in an affluent neighborhood. I discovered that sports was not compulsory. It's up to the kids themselves to decide what to do. But the school is not focused at all on the sport.
It's not pushing it.
Yeah.
You see where the error in my mind comes in. Now I'm speaking as somebody who was an educator for a long time. Is that sports is considered extracurricular, co-curricular. When you're in the sports field, it's a classroom.
It is.
If you happen to be in a school or an institution where there's a swimming facility, it's a classroom.
Yeah.
People look at it in terms of exercise and what it does physiologically, but the physiological has a direct relationship to the psychological.
I agree. Indeed, the national, the contribution of sport to the national well-being is immense.
Yes.
I mean, look at Argentina today.
Yes.
The citizens of Argentina today have forgotten about their inflation for the time being. I don't think they've recovered yet from football, whatever.
No, they
so
haven't.
the contribution is immense.
Yeah, I was also talking the other day to somebody who gave me a statistic which I didn't know, that the biggest export of Portugal is football. Yeah, and when you think about it, starting with Ronaldo and others, the amount of money that eventually flows back into Portugal because of the players who are now out there. And therefore, if you want to focus on sport, for example, Kenya as a country, it can become a very, very big business opportunity. We have that pedigree in terms of potential, and we see the stars. But I think we've not been able to harness that into a business that can come and begin to rival other sectors.
You know, there's one sector on this planet. It's called the financial sector. They act as a wonderful litmus test for what is valuable. Look at what professional sports people are paid. It tells you. It's understood.
Very true.
So then, I mean, obviously, those are things that we can look at for sure. But then here we are, and we're laying a case and saying, look, it's absolutely necessary. Look at just the sport of rugby and what it has done in Kenya. Zakolo playing, you playing as well, looking at the progression. I mean, I think of people who played the sport. I think of them and coached the sport. I think of the Munyafu brothers. I think of more recently people like Humphrey and Collins Njera, Oscar Sear. How then did sports rugby change their lives for us to be able to lay a case and say, actually, you know what, this is something that we can actually do?
Let's start with perhaps the best example is Eddie Rombo. Eddie went to the University of Nairobi and took commerce and played wonderful rugby. He's probably the greatest player we've ever had. And after playing in Singapore in 1990, he was then picked. He was scouted, and he was picked to go and go for trials in the UK. He went for trials, successful, and he played professional league rugby for the next decade or so. And in the process, he also went back to school, studied law. So not only did he get up to improve his education, but also he did fairly well in terms of returns on his professional rugby. And he came back, set up a law firm, fairly successful one. And he is a shining example of what rugby can do for someone. Now, when we go on to Humphrey Kayange, you see the same sort of thing. And Humphrey takes it further by moving on from just playing onto international sports leadership as a member of the IOC committee. And that's what rugby can do. Yeah.
It's a big thing. Let's look at the history. If I just take you back into the 100+ years of rugby history in the country, how did rugby begin in this territory?
Well, it came by ship, like the English language.
Literally.
landed in Mombasa, where it was played, not by locals, but it was played by the incoming lot. So you had administrators and you had private sector. They played rugby in Mombasa. Whenever as the railway moved, rugby moved with it, and pretty soon you had rugby all the way up to Eldoret by about the 30s, the early 30s. Rugby had reached Eldoret, which was an interesting occurrence because the rugby that reached Eldoret came from South Africa.
Yeah.
When the Boers migrated and went to. And you'll find in that book there's a very interesting little chapter on the so-called Kitale connection, because all the Boers went there. And so all of a sudden there was a springing up of rugby playing Kenyans at the very soon after independence. And these were led by the South African Boers who were there. So you had, for example, the Kenya team in 1980, the first national Kenya team, had 5 people from Kitale, which was weird. Yeah. So anyhow, the game was then played in the so-called high-cost Muzungu schools.
Yeah.
It was played in prep schools, and until about the 1990s, when I was now at the union, when I was secretary of the union for 6 years, from 91 to 97, there was a very strange occurrence at the union that there was a group of people from Kenyatta University, ex-Black Blood Play. And they called themselves, what they call themselves?
Damupevu.
Damupevu. He was one of them. And Damupevu, at the end of the 80s, had this brilliant idea that, look, we are teachers. We are going to be posted to various schools in the country. Let us spread rugby. And they came to the union and talked to the union. And they received the union support. And that's when rugby really spread out.
So it moved now from the the initial high cost schools,
exactly.
So now like the national schools.
The national schools.
So it now spread.
Others, yeah.
So it was Damupevu that is to take
Damupevu was instrumental.
Definitely.
In many ways. And if you look at the names involved, you will see that they're actually, these are some of the rugby greats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Name some.
Max Muniafu, Michael Tanko Tieno, Omega Ludenyi. They're countless. City Muga.
Yes. I was waiting.
Yeah. And going back a bit, there is a tournament called the Enterprise Cup.
Yeah.
The history of the Enterprise Cup is the HMS Enterprise, as you are told. Rugby came by ship. Yeah, landed in Mombasa, and there was a rugby match, and the cup was donated, and that's the cup that whose names endures to this day.
And it's still the same trophy.
Same trophy
From the 1920s.
Yeah. Correct.
Oh, beautiful. That's the time for you to wake up. Okay, sevens. I see. Let me just read a snippet from your book. The inaugural edition of the Safari Sevens tournament was in 1996. The idea at the time of inauguration was that it would offer a plausible alternative to the Hong Kong Sevens tournament, which, as Hong Kong was then returning to Chinese rule after almost a century of British rule, did not seem like it would retain its status as a top international rugby sevens tournament. This is because the Chinese did not put much emphasis on the game of rugby, and in fact the sport did not even have a strong functioning league in the country. At least within Hong Kong, there was a functional league made up mostly of the expatriate community, with a few of the locals sprinkled in to add a home-based flavor. The idea was a sound one. The tournament has flourished, and the locals in Nairobi have taken to the game like bees to honey. The gates are good, and the rugby action entertaining. It continues. So 1996 is when the idea of the Safari Sevens tournament was started.
Yes.
Why?
As Agri pointed out earlier, this idea actually came from the Rugby Patron Society. Specifically, Robin Cahill dreamt of the idea. And you will see somewhere else in the book, there's a report from Ronald Bukusi, who was the first CEO of KRU. And Ronald relates it pretty well. And he talks about this dinner at the International Casino, where we had South African guests of the union. And Robin comes along and moots this idea, and everybody says, "Wonderful! This sounds great." And that was the genesis of Safari Sevens. So the Patron Society really must be commended for that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the Safari Sevens. Agree?
Yeah, I think there isn't too much more to say about that. But as you know, the Safari Sevens then grew and became the bedrock of the players that eventually got into the Kenya Sevens. Because of the Safari Sevens, Kenya was invited to Dubai when the HSBC the Sevens circuit, the World Rugby Sevens circuit began, I think, in 1999. Kenya would be invited to at least 2 tournaments out of the 6 or 7, and then 3. And then eventually by about 2003, they became a core member of that Sevens. And that Kenya Sevens team has been the driver of spreading the popularity of the game in Kenya, and has been the flagship of rugby for Kenya internationally as they go from city to city. It's a very, very good ambassador for the country, because they play in 10 different cities in a space of 6 months across the world and across the continents.
If I may mention this, I think the Kenyan Spectator is the best known and best loved spectator globally of rugby.
In the RB Sevens. That's true.
Yes.
27 minutes to 8. Let's take a quick break. We have our guest this morning. Zakolo is a former rugby player and is now an author. He says he's trying to be one. He is an author. He's a published author. He has written this book. He has authored the book called 100+ Years of Rugby in Kenya, A Century of Pride. It's a very, very good book. Looks at the history of rugby, the development of rugby as a sport in the country, and where we are right now. Agri Chabeda is an MD, Sports Options Limited. He is a former rugby player, a former rugby administrator, a rugby enthusiast. He's a rugby aficionado. He knows a lot about rugby and sports management in the country, and the two gentlemen are here. We're talking about this. It's time for us to do that Minute Maid break. Tell them about Minute Maid, please. Why we have Minute Maid in the studio, and let them choose which one they want. I have the Tropical Delight Minute Maid,
and I have the Mango Nectar Plus,
and that is the apple that CT has.
It's, taking a minute from your day and taking a boost of refreshment and having a moment with Minute Maid, refreshing your everything after you've had, half an hour of heavy talk.
Yes. So every time you're, during your day and you're just busy doing everything that you're doing in retirement, remember Minute Maid, okay? Take a break throughout the day. Have some Minute Maid. 26 to 8. Time for that break. We'll be back shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's time to step up and shine. Get instant airtime or data with every purchase of specifically marked tin of black kiwi polish. What do you need to do? Walk to your nearest store, buy a tin of kiwi black shoe polish, and once opened, find a unique code under the lid. Dial *459*5# and send the code to stand a chance to win 35,000 Kenya shilling school fees every week, courtesy of Kiwi. Step up and shine with Kiwi. Terms and conditions apply.
Behind every crime and murder, there's a reason and a motive, some dark, some simple, and some unbelievably terrifying. But truth is, no one really knows what happens behind closed doors. Well, until now. I, John Allen Namu, will be opening the last door to reveal the truth behind the nation's most infamous criminal happenings in a new true crime documentary called The Last Door on Maisha Magic Plus DSTV channel 163 and GoTV channel 8. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. as we look into the heart of crime and sieve rumor from truth. Dial *423# to get or stay connected to DSTV or GoTV.
You will see highs through today of 26 and lows of 14. Looking into Nakuru, it's sunny at 11, highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 27 in a partly sunny Nyeri at 10. And it's 13 and mostly sunny in Eldoret, highs of 24. 31 will be the high in a mostly sunny Mombasa this morning, currently at 27, and it's 28 and sunny. In Malindi, going to highs of 31. Looking out into Kisumu, sunny at 19, highs of 29 and highs of 31 in a mostly sunny Kakamega at 19. It's sunny at 21 in Kampala, highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 31 in a cloudy Dar es Salaam at 27. 14 and sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 28 and lows of 14. And we're looking at clear conditions in Lagos at 25 to highs of 33. 30 will be the high in Kinshasa. It's cloudy at 23.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Right. 94.4 SpiceFM, Nairobi.
Inbound traffic on the Thika Superhighway quite thick right now, and Kiambu Road as well, just past the DCI headquarters, really thick with traffic. Inbound is heavy, bumper to bumper. Limuru Road is also pretty busy as you're coming off of Muthaiga Road, and Gigiri as well. United Nations Avenue quite packed as you're heading out into the city. James Gishur with a drop of traffic as you're approaching Wayaki Way, coming in from all kinds of Lavington and inside Kingara Road. Oh, that's interesting because it's bumper to bumper, and that is outbound traffic trying to find its way snaking into the city. Naivasha Road also pretty busy, and we're going to look at that spilling over to Ngongro in some parts, and Langata Road is pretty busy as well. Jogo Road bumper to bumper as you get towards Landis Road. As you touch on Kamkunji, it's also doing the thing. Okay, Mombasa Road, it's been a minute since there's been traffic here, but there is some this morning. It's going to go towards North Airport Road and touch a little bit on Outer Ring. We're in traffic hour officially now. Let's know what's going on where you are, and let's keep things moving as much as possible, just in case you bump into something. Talk to us. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM,
Conversation
Nairobi.
continues 21 minutes to 8. Agri Chabeda and Zakolo, rugby aficionados, with us in the studio. We're talking about 100 years plus of rugby in the Republic of Kenya. There's a gentleman who's called Duncan Motonya. He's riding a motorbike to the coast, and he's listening to the Situation Room. And of course, because he's riding a bike, he's not holding the phone to his ear. He's using the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro to listen as he rides. See the use of these things?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So he has his Z Flip phone in the pocket. It's of course connected to the internet, the Buds 2 Pro, and then he has a helmet on.
And he's listening.
And he's listening.
And he's on his motorbike.
And he's on his motorbike as he's riding.
Isn't that a wonderful
and
thing?
there's a GoPro, of course, camera, and he's capturing all the images as he's moving. You know, beauty of life. This is about quality of life. So, you know, in the country, we talk about the highs and lows of various sports, whether it's hockey, it's rugby, it's football, it's athletics, it's
cricket.
Cricket, that's the one.
Volleyball.
You know, even volleyball and basketball. We have all those highs and lows, you know, a season which is called like the golden era, and then others which are now, you don't want to refer to them as anything, just want to forget about them. Of course, you have seen those ups and downs in Kenya's rugby. Which would you mention, and what is it that led to the rise, and what happened to lead to the lows?
In my view, the highest high for Kenya rugby has been 2016, when the sevens team won the Singapore leg of the IRB Sevens. And if you trace the history of sevens, it goes back to an organization known as Watembezi Pace Setters, RFC, who set off in the early 80s, led by one Cliff Mukulu, Dennis Awori, to play sevens rugby in the Middle East, and eventually did actually also represent Kenya in the Hong Kong Sevens in 1986. So they started off this trend, and sevens picked up for various reasons, but particularly Kenyans, our style of rugby lent itself to sevens very well. We play high speed, fancy rugby. So we did very well, and in the 2000, early 2000, our game picked up, and we continued to develop our style. And by 2016, we were able to win this. I mean, this is a world-class, tournament that was won by Kenya. And I don't know how many people actually fully appreciate the magnitude of what we achieved. So that was the highest of the highs. But there's also the 15-a-side game, where you look back and you say, what happened? And it's amazing to think that in 1953, we played the British Lions and only lost by a score of 35 to 3. That's incredible. If we play the Lions today, I don't know what you guys think. If we play the Lions today, it would be 150 to 3.
Yeah. It would be in those regions.
Yeah. But again, looking back,
it wouldn't happen.
one of the other highs is when we first beat Zimbabwe at the 15-a-side level, which was in the early 80s. That was also one of the highs of the game.
What are the lows, Agri?
For me, the lows are various tournaments that have come along that could have been the ones that the bread that is feeding Kenya Rugby have gone wayward. The peak one being the Safari Sevens. I think the Safari Sevens at one time was returning in excess of a surplus of 20 million shillings for a tournament that was one weekend. And if it had continued at that level, this could have been way into hundreds of millions of shillings today, and that could have been the foundation on which the union would sit and then look for more sponsors. There was a 15th tournament also called Rugby Super Series, which used to be sponsored by Bamburi. I chaired that incidentally for about for 12 years. Again, it was growing steadily. It's no longer played. So to me, these are unfortunate events, tons of events within the game. But I think there are things that should be looked at, and the mistakes and the reasons why these events have gone be addressed, and they are brought back.
What are the reasons in your perspective?
You want me to be political now?
Yes.
Yes. No, I think just poor management. I think I can't say anything beyond that. They've been mismanaged over time. They've not the professionalism with which they were being run was allowed to slip through the fingers, and inevitably they lost their way. Yes.
Let me ask this question. See, there's a framework within which rugby exists. It's called sports. Do we have a legal framework within which a sports like rugby can actually be enhanced?
The sports in Kenya runs, they are essentially still back in the space where most of the sports are run through the associations, which used to be set up through the Societies Act. But much later on, the government tried to get involved because of a lot of clamor from a lot of directions that it's not being managed properly, and they created and put in place the Sports Act. So
how did that work out?
So the Sports Act has worked in certain ways and has not worked in other ways. I think the biggest weakness with the Sports Act is it was enacted with very little participation by the main stakeholders, who to me were the sports federations themselves. So as a result, there is a lot of clauses in that where it's they look like they mean well, but they actually do not serve the game. If I can pick one specific one, in the Sports Act, there is a demand that every federation must have a branch or whatever you want to call it in 24 out of 48.
It's like a political party.
Exactly. So the question is why? And nobody asks the question, and who funds all this? If I go and set up in Kitui, and there's no rugby in Kitui, for example, then officials pop out of Kitui. What's their role? Other than to come and distort the election process, which is exactly what is happening. And it's not just in rugby, even in other sports. So, in fact, what is happening is you are finding that the sports registrar is refusing to let some of the federations hold their elections on the basis that they do not conform to the Sports Act. But when you go and analyze, it is just the elections that they haven't set up branches in this, and it is distorting the leadership of these bodies, and it is something that needs to be addressed like yesterday.
Isn't it true that, I'm going to look at rugby because obviously what we're discussing today.
Yes.
But then it's going to cut across the board, Zach,
Yes.
and I agree here. Because the way I see it is that until a spectacular talent is found, really very little is done about the projected, compacted, conditional institutionalization of sports in this country. Until you find a rare gem is now when somebody starts running about and say, okay, let's do something about this, right? And that's when you start coming up with things like the Sports Act. And now when you start saying associations must do 1, 2, 3 or the other thing. When Diego threw his javelin and then everybody found out that he learnt it on YouTube and whatever, that's when we said, oh, okay, maybe we can start do something about this. Really? If we want to compare with what happens in other countries, I'll take the NBA draft, for example. You find kids, I'll take Kobe Bryant. He was in high school where they were running basketball programs. The time a child is walking, they put a basketball in their hands. This is what's happening today. So by the time they get to 16, 17, they're drafted by the NBA. It's of no surprise to anybody that you will find such talent. But we seem to do things in the opposite here. Somebody will pop out of the woodwork and do something spectacular, and then we'll say, oh, fantastic. Let us now see what we can do with this thing. Oscar Osia can get a rugby ball in his hands and he can run like Speedy Gonzalez, and we say, okay, fantastic. Let's now see how we can institutionalize this thing. Shouldn't we be doing it
the other way around?
Yeah, I'd even go further than you and say, and with all due respect to our government administrators, a lot of them meet our stars for the first time at the airport.
Yeah. When they're
coming back, having won something. Yeah, then they quickly make phone calls and they turn up to meet them and put them in their CVs later on, or they're saying this year these are our successes, performance
indicators.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and you're quite right. We need to do this at the developmental level, at the primary school. To me, the primary schools are the foundation. In a country like Kenya, where resources can be scarce, which we accept, there is one place where we have resources across the whole country. It's primary schools. That's why we hold elections in primary schools. So there is a structure, there is pitch. Yeah. So from there, we need to invest in teachers to understand sports, and then equipment into those and get the sport running at that level.
If I may just add to that, and particularly with particular reference to rugby, I think it would be very unfair to expect the KRU to be able to run developmental rugby.
Absolutely.
They do not have the resources.
Absolutely.
This has to be done in conjunction with other parties. And those other parties may very well include the government. As Agri says, primary schools do not require very much to be able to play a game of rugby, apart from what they have today. And therefore, to a large extent, the initiative could come from somewhere, but the government has to be involved. And then we're looking at communities. How much do communities contribute to the game? And so the union's function really would be to reach out to the communities and say, look, let's get involved.
If in the teacher training schools, as part of their training, it's compulsory that they must at least train in some sport, whichever one that takes their fancy, so that you then have teachers getting into schools, all of them with
already
some knowledge
people
in some sport.
And Damupevu is a good example of
and that won't cost the government too much. They are being paid salaries, and they find themselves in the schools, and these things will
take
move
it
from
further.
there.
In this last week, we've had passing out parades, National Youth Administration, police, GSU, same. Get these people involved in sports.
So one of the people who passed out in one of those parades was Omanyala himself, who is who graduated, quote unquote, and he's one of them.
Yes.
We also had 3 members of the Kenya rugby team. Passing out.
For the police.
I think that the involvement of government has to be a lot more than just a suggestion. And so, read a book, and it's conspiracy, of course, but many would argue that the United States made sure that across board they had people spotting programs. Many would say that they did this so that it's kind of like how they also invented Hollywood, so that they could take people's attention away from what they were really doing in government. Okay, but somehow it seemed to work, right? So that from the very youngest of ages, like you're saying, people took it seriously. So I think it's more than a suggestion of maybe you can get involved. I think it is a role that government has to play. Because you cannot have all your attention on just the academic. It cannot be just on the business. There is a wealth of opportunity that lies in this thing that we are talking about.
Can I flip the coin then in this conversation? We've heard government, coming out to say, okay, so we'd like to see a better organized cricket, better organized hockey, better organized rugby. But where does the pushback come from? It comes from the officials in those federations. It comes not even from the players. It is from the people who are officials in those federations. Why is it so? Why do we see that, I agree? I mean, even today, I'm sure Ababu Namwamba, the sports CS, will tell you, and those people, he'll tell you the people that are found in this ministry have documents, have had meetings, have had these plans, have had this, programs. The government, the initial government of Jubilee, the current government of Kenya Kwanza, they've all talked about sports, but it doesn't seem to move. Pushback, federations.
Yeah, I mean, federations, at the end of the day, a federation is as strong as its membership. And if we can strengthen the game at the grassroots, in the long term, it's not something that will happen in a year or 2 years. In the long term, once you have a lot of people who are playing the game, they will form clubs, they will form associations, they will push through the right people to govern them. And but for as long as that side of the federations are weak, we try and force situations at the top that are really not possible, because it's the federations, independent federations, individual federations that govern the sport. And that's the way it should be, and that's the way it happens everywhere in the world. And they are successful in many other places in the world. There are others who are not so successful, so we have to borrow from where it's successful. And the fact is, if the foundation is strong, eventually the federation will be strong.
What's the place of the global sports bodies? If it's in what's it called, the athletics one now? The Sebastian Coe one is called?
The rugby one is called World Rugby.
The World Rugby.
Yes.
IAAF.
IAAF is now called World Athletics.
World Athletics, that's the one I was looking
World
for.
Athletics.
Yes. FIFA.
Yes.
What's role do they play in this thing that we're talking about? Helping the local federations, and also encouraging the local governments to be able to get more people playing.
Yeah, I think it depends, but generally speaking, the models of most of them are very similar. They appoint a body within the country to be the one that is empowered to govern the game within that country. That happens with FIFA, that happens with World Rugby, that happens with World Athletics. And they then encourage that body to come up with some developmental program. And they tend to send funds.
Pumping a lot of money.
And very often the funds they send are geared towards the developmental part of the game. They send to the federation, because that is the body which they affiliate with. Okay, generally that's what they do. FIFA, of course, because it has a lot of money, does have a lot of extra money to send to do other things, like they've sent money to Kenya for FKF to build offices. But those are not very common in a lot of the other federations, because sometimes they don't have those sort of funds. Go ahead. I don't know what you think, Zach.
No, I was just going to say that I'd be very careful about saying they send a lot of money. I don't think they send a lot of money, particularly when it comes to rugby. There's been an ongoing manenos about how the World Rugby treats the various tiers of rugby nations. So Kenya being second or third tier, barely gets anything from
World Rugby.
Yeah, from World Rugby. By barely, I mean it probably doesn't come up to 50 million shillings a year, whereas the tier one nations get millions of dollars. And that's something that's been going on for a while. So there's a bit of a shouty about it, but there's not enough muscle among the third tier nations to push this agenda very hard.
How do you acquire muscle?
Muscle is probably acquired through numbers. And in this case, the numbers are how many people play rugby in your country, how many countries are in the third tier.
Yeah.
When we have a World Rugby seminar, whatever, do they show up to push their cause?
So all those things. As we conclude the conversation, there's a question that has been asked by the Kush. He's saying, so all these years, 100 years plus of rugby, we have X years of football, X years of athletics. We don't have a sports museum in the country.
Yes, that is true, and it's most unfortunate. In terms of rugby, actually, it's very interesting because Nondescript's RFC actually do have a museum, and this is very, very commendable.
They actually launched it in November.
Yeah, it was launched in November,
Yes.
and I understand the official launch is actually this year.
Oh, okay.
Because this year they actually get to be 100 rather than last year.
Yes.
So we expect to see a lot from them. And that should be an example for everybody else. But you're quite right. There's no sports museum, and
that would help in telling the story of how we've developed to call ourselves a nation of champions in all ways than one. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. Hii kitabu tunaweza nunua wapi, Zach?
Hii kitabu itanunuliwa. It's going to be in the bookshops by the 9th of February. We're going to have a launch, hopefully a very big launch. We have invited serious VIPs, including former rugby players. We hope they'll show up on that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank
Zach
you.
Olo is an author. He has authored 100 plus years of rugby in Kenya. Like he said, it'll be in the bookshops in coming weeks. And Agri Chabeda is a sports administrator and a sports aficionado. He is now the MD of Sports Options Limited. Keep it here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. Remember, Sunday is episode number 2 of The Last Door by John Allen Namu. It's showing on Maisha Magic Plus on DSTV and on GoTV. Upgrade your DSTV GoTV today and then you get Maisha Magic Plus free. Good morning, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations and the United States Embassy has announced a $10 million bounty on the 2019 Dusit D2 terror attack mastermind. Speaking in Nairobi, the American ambassador Meg Whitman promised a reward of 1.2 billion shillings to anyone with information that leads to the arrest of the main suspect in the attack on the Dusit D2 complex restaurant in 2019.
Mahmoud Abdi Aden, an al-Shabaab leader, was part of the cell that planned the Dusit 2 hotel attack. On October 22nd, the U.S. Department of State designated Aden as a specially designated global terrorist. I am announcing a reward of up to $10 million for information leading to the arrest or conviction in any country of Mohammed Abdi Aden and any other individual who committed, attempted, or conspired to commit, or aided or abetted in the commission of the 2019 attack on the Dusit D2 hotel complex in Nairobi, Kenya.
DCI boss Mohammed indicated that Abdi Aden is believed to be the leader behind the attack that killed over 19 people. He stated that the government will continue to share information on various fugitives who hide in the country.
I have enumerated these examples to Your Excellency to exemplify the level of commitment that the Directorate of Criminal Investigations has towards collaborating with the United States in combating transnational organized crimes not only in the country but across the region.
On that day, the attack began when 4 men threw grenades at vehicles in the car park before entering the lobby, where one blew himself. Now, the Nairobi High Court has granted the police 2 weeks to complete investigations into the death of rally driver Sadhan. The investigations has shifted from that of grievous harm to murder, and rally driver Maxine Wahome is under investigation for her boyfriend's death. State Prosecutor James Gashoka told the Milimani Law Courts that circumstances in the matter have changed following the death of Khan. Khan's family lawyer, Cliff Ombeta, on his part agreed to work with the 2-week request.
We are yet to get the DNA results from the government chemist. We are also yet to receive a report from the scenes of crime to enable the DPP to make a decision as to how to proceed with this matter.
We realize that there are some angles that have not been covered. We have written to the DPP on what we believe that are angles that also need to be investigated, and the DPP responded and indicated to us that they'll be looking also into those angles. So I tend to think that the 14 days being asked for would be fair.
And 8 people died and 3 others injured in a bandit attack at Yelkurkum village in Laisamis, Marsabit County. Confirming the incident, Marsabit County Police Commander Robinson Boloi said about 15 bandits armed with firearms raided the village. The attackers are said to have opened fire, killing 8 people, among them 3 children and 5 men. According to the police commander, the bandits made away with an unknown number of cows and goats during the attack. 2 of the injured were taken to Marsabit Referral Hospital. A multi-agency security team has since been deployed to pursue the attackers. And Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o has ordered immediate ban on street vending in Kisumu County. All traders and hawkers selling their wares on the streets, he said, will be accommodated at the ultra-modern Uhuru Business Park. The 5,000 capacity market built in collaboration with the national government has been vacant for a year after its completion. All traders from Luangani, Akamba Line, Fontala, Konyando, KPLC, Backstreet, Winmart and Varsity Plaza, who were displaced during the revitalization of Kisumu Port and the upgrading of the railway line, he said, will operate from the new market. The city management, he said, was working on guidelines on how the traders will operate at the market, saying no traders will be allowed on the streets. He cautioned the traders against violating the regulations, saying those found culpable risked losing their business stalls. And the Department of Crop Protection and Safety from Nairobi have been dispatched to Kisumu to start a massive campaign to fight koala birds in rice fields through spring. According to Kisumu County Executive Member of Agriculture Kenneth Onyango, the bird population in the county stands at 5.8 million. Onyango says the county has managed to locate 9 areas where the birds stay at night, where the spring will be directed. He says Nyando has the highest population of the birds at 2 million, followed by Nyakach with 800,000 and Muhoroni 500,000. The CEC says the farmers in West Kano and Ahero irrigation schemes in recent days have been invaded by the destructive koala birds in rice fields. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. Get to see the world through a new lens and capture the moments that truly matter.
.5 Spice FM.
Right, so we're looking at traffic on Jogger Road. It's heavy as you go out towards Landis and then connect at Kamkunji. A little bit of traffic coming off Lunga Lunga. It's touching on Outer Ring. Manyanja connecting through Outer Ring and then coming onto Jogger Road as well as Kangunda Road doing the same thing. We've got Juja Road, which is presenting some traffic as you approach Outer Ring. But then you're going to get into the city without too much of a headache. Where there is a headache is on Kiambu Road this morning and very slow traffic as you're getting out towards Muthaiga Square. The Thika Superhighway ebbing and flowing with traffic. We're seeing some just past Survey out towards the Pangani underpass, and then you're going to connect with Muranga Road. And there's some interesting stuff happening on Wangari Maathai this morning. Traffic connecting from Limuru Road, coming off Pangani, and then it's going to spill over into Westlands. It's heavy on Ring Road Westlands and James Gishuru also as you try to cross over to Waiyaki Way. In traffic hour, that's where we still are this morning, but it's moving in most parts. Let's keep talking. Tell us what's going on where you are. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
8 minutes after 8, Friday the 13th of January 2023. That's not what is important. What's important is that it's 10 days till schools open.
Indeed.
Why?
And what is more important is that you can walk into any supermarket today, step up and shine with Kiwi, buy a tin of the Kiwi black shoe polish, and you have an opportunity to enter into a draw once you send the code under the lid to *459 *5#, and you have an opportunity to get bundles immediately or airtime immediately, and then enter into a draw that you can win 35,000 bob towards school fees. Well,
you enter the draw immediately.
You enter the draw immediately, whether you win immediately.
You win within the week.
Something like that.
All right.
School fees, check.
Iyo, hapo. Yeah, that is what is important, okay? The other thing that's important is that C.T. Muga is looking dapper today.
Omo.
Hey.
It's not a small wahala.
Friday. Mimi nakwambia.
Wahala.
Next time watamuona. Tuesday. Boss, are you coming on Monday?
Monday or which year?
Do you have plans to...
Do I have plans?
No, that's a wrong question.
Do birds fly?
Wow.
Your jacket amevaa. Jacket amevaa.
And then today sasa
kofia amevaa. My friend.
Have no fear.
Easy.
Have no fear.
City is here.
No, it's not only that. They are my own personal properties. Wewe unakitaka kofia nakupatia. Yeah, hata ukitaka jacket nakupatia. Ziko zingine.
Kwa wingi.
Yes, so wasiwasi.
City the Daddy. We are taking a photo with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. It's a 14.6-inch screen.
Panacheza na kitu.
Alafu tutaweka hiyo 14.6-inch photo online.
Kitu
what we own. Those who can't see CT, they need to see CT.
It's not just a tab, my friend.
We'll even edit the photos.
It's a tab's tab.
It's a tab's tab.
Yes, exactly.
A tab's daddy.
Yes, exactly.
It's a daddy of the tabs.
Kabisa. Communication guru. My friend, inaongea na bad, ambayo iko kwa masikio, inaongea na simu, inaongea na saa,
ambayo iko kwa mkono.
Na iko kwa mkono. Now you tell me. Talk about a technological companion. Can you actually do better than that, even if you try?
Well, I don't know.
Sorry, Babs.
I don't know.
Ndio hiyo.
Yeah. Take us to Lesotho.
Sawa. This is our final proverb from the country of Lesotho. A farmer who does not work under the sun or rain has nothing to harvest at the end of the farming year. Lengthy statement, but also a statement of fact.
To say what?
Come sunshine or rain. Not shine. Sunshine or rain. Okay?
You must work.
You must work. Yes, you don't work when it's convenient. Even when it's inconvenient, you work. That's when you will enjoy the fruits of your labor.
If you want to harvest, you must work.
You must work. There's no question about it.
Where?
Yes.
Throughout.
Kabisa.
Okay. Sam Odhiambo is here to work. He is the head of Consumer Electronics Division at Samsung Electronics East Africa. He's in the studio. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Eric.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah. You've come on Friday the 13th.
Should be perfect timing, I think, right?
Proper. This is it.
And at least CT has talked of work. So all these has picked up on a good note.
Yes. Well, it's Thursday, Friday, Monday, you work.
The Lesotho way.
Yeah, the Lesotho way. But City now has finished. You see the way City is dressed?
Yes.
Man is harvesting.
I have...
Man is in harvest season.
This feeling is probably working out anytime now.
Harvest season. Him and tea farmers, same was up. Tea farmers have received 5 billion shillings. 5.5 billion shillings bonus.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Kombo City yako na shamba mahali ya majani. Yes. We've been talking about the Samsung, equipment and Samsung Galaxy and what Samsung does, the value of Samsung, but also there's more to it, not just about using the equipment. So Samsung is not just about equipment. It's a lot more. It's a lot more than that. It is something that you spoke about earlier as Samsung, bringing calm to our connected world through the CES 2023. What is bringing calm to our connected world? Connect a calm world or calm a connected world.
Bringing calm. I think let me first of all thank you, Eric, Ndo and City for having me here this morning. Talk of bringing calm to the world, essentially. Of course, this came up from the CES a few days ago, the Global Consumer Electronics Show. It's really where things happen. So when you talk of bringing calm, essentially, since the whole notion of convergence started off among gadgets, you'll be surprised. As we speak now, there are in excess of 22 billion gadgets across the world that can connect to each other.
Just slowly, sorry, please.
And what is a gadget? Maybe that
what?
22 billion of gadgets that can communicate with one another.
That communicate with one another.
Model notwithstanding. Manufacturer notwithstanding.
So this is Samsung plus many others.
All the others.
Quite a number of them even here in this room at the moment. So we are talking of phones, we are talking of television, tablets, the foldables, watches,
earwear,
even appliances lately.
Appliances like
to
now,
these devices,
fridge and all.
Yeah. So much going on. So that's of course way more than even the human population, right? So when you talk of 22 billion devices with capabilities connect to each other, then that begins to look quite messy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's the possibility probably here in a room we're trying to have a conversation, a phone rings, an ad goes up on the TV, or if you're home, it could play out in many forms. So Samsung's goal is really to ensure that there is order, around these devices, around these gadgets. If you're home, you're trying to watch a movie, okay? How do you really just focus on that movie so that that TV doesn't find its way trying to communicate with your refrigerator?
Yeah. Have you been somewhere and your TV starts connecting to your neighbor's phone?
Exactly.
Tells you so and so's guy that wants to connect, and wondering who on earth is so and so.
It's yellow man.
Yes. It happens a lot. You see, I think we've now been talking about IoT for about 3-4 years now, imagine. So that has actually enhanced those connections, further. So IoT, for example, will allow you to, you're driving home in traffic and you get an alert on your phone. It's actually the fridge telling you that I'm running low on groceries.
Leta mayai.
Kuja na mayai, Pitia hapo kwa mama mboga
and it's because the fridge has been told that you are actually on your way home.
Exactly.
This is the best time to alert you.
Yes. So
it was not appropriate to alert you at 2 p.m. when you're entering a meeting.
Exactly. So it is those connections that we as Samsung are trying to bring some order around.
What is that order? What is bringing order? What does it mean?
So bringing the order, I'll give you a case scenario. Talk of, fine, typical day. I know you guys are not able to pull this off. At least, I may be wrong. Can you work from home, by the way, City?
Yes, we can.
You can, huh? Brilliant.
We've even done it.
You've done it? This setup is available at your place?
No. Working from home doesn't mean we carry the studio with us. It just means that we're able to have a conversation while the show is going on. We've been able to do it.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant. So you're home, you're doing that, okay? And then somebody else within the household is trying to to do something else, watch a TV or make a call. But then both of you, for one reason or the other, fail to disconnect a connection that was made earlier, that this needs to communicate with this. That will require some calmness, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise, I think it is likely somebody will intrude into City's conversation.
Into a public conversation.
And a public conversation,
Actually,
for that matter.
In fact, as you're speaking, what comes to mind?
Yes.
The number of times you are on a call and another call comes in.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Now, it's taken me a very long time. I haven't even yet succeeded on how when this call comes in, I actually communicate with the caller that I will call them later while listening. I always manage to switch off everything. So I have to start again. Then explain what I was trying to do.
I think City will need this calmness earlier than everybody else.
So, of course, the person at the other end calls and says, City, airtime Malaysia. I said, no, actually, you're the one who called me. So it isn't.
So,
yes.
How then is the Samsung technology helping folks like CT? What kind of things are we looking at? Technologies then that are being, developed to make sure that in the midst of this whole drama, two people calling you, a meeting about to be set up on Zoom. It's a different world, isn't it? That 2.5 years ago,
yes,
you would have a meeting, and we're having a meeting face to face in an office wherever. But now you're having a meeting, you can connect with anybody in the world via your gadget.
Yes.
And a phone call can come in, and
Yes.
you can put your meeting on hold, and you can answer your phone call and come back and join your meeting.
Yes.
So many things can happen at the same time.
Yeah.
How has Samsung then been able to, intercept these processes and make it possible for you to remain calm as opposed to switching everything off?
So there is a whole debate around design and behavior, So what City just described is basically applicable to any of us, right? It's behavior, This is our way of life. There's all the likelihood I'll be on a call, but somebody on the other end of the world will have no idea I'm on the call, so they shouldn't interrupt. They'll call at the same time. Okay? So you can't really design a product to stop that. You can work around that behavior and come up with a product that manages that situation, right? Not the other way around. So I started by saying there is behavior and then there is design, okay? So at Samsung, what we are trying to do is to really understand what are the human scenarios, what are the human behaviors, okay? So that you are able to come up with solutions that can actually fit into that, fit into those scenarios, okay? Not anticipate and design products that will, by all intents and purposes, actually mess up all that, We are looking at a scenario where if CT is on that call and somebody abruptly tries to join into the call, I'm sure you've seen this already. You can choose to keep CT on hold and tell that guy, I'll be back in a while, just hold, okay? Yeah. Or you could even decide to merge them.
In fact, you are the person who will speak of the devil.
Now that you're here.
I'm on the call with so-and-so.
Exactly. Yeah. We may be actually been on call with CT on Eric, for example. Then Eric happens to join in, right?
Yep.
So why keep Why keep him away? We'll just merge him, and so that we end up the three of us on the call. Okay? So those are some of the ways that Samsung, and I believe much of the industry, has really tried to come into, fit into the human behavior and adapt into the real life scenarios so that everything fits into the technological space. It's good for everyone.
Why? And it seems like a strange question, but then why do this? Is it because folks in the market said, look, we need a way that we can be connected? Or you said, look, let's try to make life a little bit easier for people as we go along, climbing up the steps in this technology. But why do that? Why develop this technology? Why, come up with these new ideas? I mean, I think about the Buds 2 Pro often, and I think, oh, this is great. You can put earphones in your ear before every now and then when you make a certain movement, your earphones fall out. You can't really hear. If you're jogging or something, you have to keep putting them. But then here you are with this technology that is created in such a way that you have the earbud in your ear, and even if you move, it doesn't fall out. Even if you move, you can keep hearing the music. Why do that? I mean, who would think that you need to make this technology more convenient for the user? Why keep doing that?
The answer is right in there. You see, the whole idea is to make life easier, to let technology make our ways better, improved, right? They should not complicate them. Okay? You've just talked of the earbuds, for example. Why should it be that if I'm on an earpiece, then I can't jog because it will fall away? It shouldn't, right? So it's more of working backwards. This is how the consumers want their lives to operate. So how do we design products that fit into that lifestyle so that it becomes easier, it becomes fun, and it also allows you to do multiple things at the same time instead of, restricting you. You are aware of, I think for the longest, you could only watch the TV while seated there on your lounge. That has moved away, so that it adapts with how life is changing, how the lifestyles are becoming increasingly different across the world. So Samsung is really doing the best it can to develop products that fit into those lifestyles. And that's, for us, really the essence of very heavy investments in research and development in most times, so that we go down to the grassroots.
You want to be everywhere that I am, basically.
Everywhere that you are.
People imagine, Samsung, there was a time when Samsung was TV.
Yes.
Then there was Samsung radio.
Yes.
And Samsung mobile devices. So just a mobile phone,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So we've now moved into connecting the mobile phone. So Samsung tablet, Samsung earbud, Samsung
camera,
the gear, the wearable gear, all this. What else had you mentioned?
The watch.
The watch, right?
Gear,
the tablets.
Yeah. Fridge now. So when you talk about, you are head of the consumer electronics division.
Yes.
What kind of different electronic devices are we talking about that you deal with? Just so that people can just see the entire picture spectrum.
Yeah. So Samsung operation locally, so that I mean Kenya region and essentially Africa, is centered on two main things. So one is what we call MX, mobile experience. So that's where the phones, the tablets, and the of course the foldables are in there. All the accessories, earbuds and the watches are sit there. That is mobile part. Okay. Then there is the consumer electronics. This for me is anything else Samsung that most people in Kenya have really seen on Samsung. Everything else falls there. So that is the unit that I had.
What is this everything else?
So consumer electronics then will be TV. You'll be the sound devices. You've seen the sound bars.
Yes.
Will be the home appliances. So here we are talking about the refrigerators, and they are in all shapes and forms. We are talking about washing machines.
There are different shapes of fridges.
Different designs, I would say.
Okay.
Colors.
So it's shape.
We could come back to shape. So refrigerators, we have washing machines in that space. We have microwave ovens, right? We have cookers. We have vacuum cleaners. And then there is the third bit, which is called the digital air solution. So we are talking about room air conditioning, system air conditioning, the commercial type. I can see a few of them here. And then we still have the hospitality element. So the hotel TVs, the signages, the monitors, which we have smart and the basic one. So all that then form what we call consumer electronics.
So there's a lot then that we're actually talking about.
So much.
And all these gadgets, many of these gadgets will in future be able to be speaking to one another. As we develop the Internet of Things, more and more of them will now get into that space where the vacuum cleaners tells the TV, reduce your volume because I'm going to be a bit loud for a while.
Yes, exactly. Or hold on, I'm in a meeting.
I'm in a meeting. Yeah, just don't come with your vacuum on this side.
Don't shout.
Yes, this is happening.
Yeah.
And as Samsung is sitting back in the R&D, what informs the development of a advanced type of consumer device or introduction of a new consumer device?
It's really consumer driven. Okay. Maybe just to take you back a bit, the truth of the matter is that connection is actually already happening. There are so many of those devices that are currently able to talk to each other. We may not have the full range available for us here in Kenya yet, but that connection is happening. The TVs are talking to refrigerators, the washing machines are talking to mobile phones. That is actually happening in Kenya, by the way. We have AI-enabled washing machines, so you can put in your laundry there and choose not to let it run until a time you wish. So you're in the office and you just power it on. That is happening. So.
And then it dries, and then it hangs.
So you time it. So you say, look at CT.
I'm thinking.
CT is still at disconnecting the phone from two people talking. Now you people are talking about laundry being done and hung out to dry when the fella's not in the house.
Because I'm seeing unemployment here. Because
employment risk or opportunity?
Well, it's risk because if Samsung is going to be washing my clothes,
your mama is
there's somebody who actually does that. But on a serious note, what I was thinking of,
and don't take me away from Eric's question. I think
I'm not taking. I'm actually augmenting the question. I'm thinking of security.
Yes.
Because if I can control my washing machine from the office, what about security cameras in my house where I'm sitting right now, and I can tell what is happening in my house?
Yeah.
Are you people in that space, as they call it, as well?
Yeah, that is happening. The beauty about this, we don't have the security, the security, what I think we'll call the CCTVs, for example. Samsung is not into that for this market at the moment, but
it exists, but not for this market.
It exists. The beauty, you see, the calmness we are talking about, those 22 billion devices connected across the world. It's beyond Samsung. The IoT technology, for example, allows devices to communicate across manufacturers and devices. So you will be having a security camera that is not Samsung, but that security camera is linked to your Galaxy devices, right? So it's linked to your phone, right? And you have control over it.
So you're able to see and control.
You're able to control and see what is happening. So that is already in place. That connection is happening, and it is the acceleration part that I think is currently in progress, and it is happening at an amazing pace.
And I was thinking of something else, a partnership here.
Yeah.
The vehicles we have, whether it's a tuk-tuk, a motorbike, or a car, they tend to have radios. Some have a screen.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, yes, I know there's been that connectivity with the phone in some vehicles. But going beyond that,
yes,
the very same thing I'm asking, does Samsung have partnerships with vehicle manufacturers so that some of these products that you already have can be in vehicles?
But I'll shock you, Samsung produces cars as well.
What are the cars called?
Galaxy.
Bad.
You know, Samsung is a
Galaxy Car 5 Pro.
Samsung as a group is what we are talking about here essentially is the Samsung Electronics.
Yeah.
But the group is huge. They're into literally everything you can imagine.
Even heavy industries.
Heavy industry, I know.
They're doing shipbuilding.
Yeah, that much I know, but cars.
Yeah.
Panachaza.
Samsung cars.
Give him
anyway,
have some Minute Maid.
This is done for currently for domestic market in Korea. But they are Samsung cars.
Have some Minute Maid. That's the time for that. We've gotten there. For calmness. If you're looking for calmness, Samsung is spearheading the issue of calmness in this connected world of ours. And we are spearheading the issue of calmness in your day. Take a break from the very, very busy day, from the hustle and bustle of your day at any time of day, and just take a sip of Minute Maid. Okay, so our guest, Sam Odhiambo, head of Consumer Electronics Division, has just taken a sip. It's about time. So he's wondering that question that City has asked him. He has taken a sip. And City himself, because he's now trying to figure out Samsung cars. Take a sip as well. City.
Thank you. I'm going to do precisely that.
Kunywa kitu tafadhali. And if you have a subscription, DSTV or GoTV subscription, and you pay today, you'll get a free upgrade on us to watch the show. What is the show called? The Last Door. By who? By John Alanam, which shows here on Maisha Magic Plus. All you need to do is dial star 423 hash to buy or stay connected. Terms and conditions apply. Remember, this Sunday, 8 p.m., Maisha Magic Plus, DSTV channel 63 and GoTV channel 8, you get to watch The Last Door by John Alanamu. Good morning, 26 to 9. Time for that break.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's time to step up and shine. Get instant airtime or data with every purchase of specifically marked tin of black kiwi polish. What do you need to do? Walk to your nearest store, buy a tin of kiwi black shoe polish, and once opened, find a unique code under the lid. Dial star 459 star 5 hash and send the code to stand a chance to win 35,000 Kenya shilling school fees every week, courtesy of Kiwi. Step up and shine with Kiwi. Terms and conditions apply.
Sleepwalking through the afternoon. Sleepwalking through the afternoon. Sleepwalking through the afternoon.
Don't live life on repeat. Enjoy your break moments with Minute Maid Delight, a treat that awakens your senses and fills you with vitality. So fill those break moments with the indulgent sensations of Minute Maid, featuring delicious mango, tropical and apple flavors. Minute Maid, filled with life.
Behind every crime and murder, there's a reason and a motive, some dark, some simple, and some unbelievably terrifying. But truth is, no one really knows what happens behind closed doors. Well, until now. I, John Allen Namu, will be opening The Last Door to reveal the truth behind the nation's most infamous criminal happenings in a new true crime documentary called The Last Door on Maisha Magic Plus, DSTV channel 163 and GoTV channel 8. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. as we look into the heart of crime and sieve rumor from truth. Dial star 423 hash to get
sunny conditions in Nairobi this morning, going to highs of 27 and lows of 14. It's sunny at 11 in Nakuru, going to highs of 28 today. And into Nyeri, we'll see highs of 27, sunny conditions at 12. Sunny at 15 in Eldoret, highs of 24 and highs of 31 in a sunny Mombasa at 28. It's 28 and sunny as well in Malindi, highs of 31. And we'll see highs of 29 in Kisumu, where it's currently 21. It's 22 and mostly cloudy in Kakamega, highs of 31 and lows of 14. Kampala is sunny at 20, highs of 26. And Dar es Salaam is raining now at 27, highs of 31. 16 and sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 28 and highs of 33. In a clear Lagos at 25. It's cloudy at 23. In Kinshasa, highs of 30 and lows of 22. All right, still continues with traffic in many parts. Looking around Nairobi, there's some outbound traffic on the Thika Superhighway. It is, after all, the weekend. Coming into Westlands, there's some traffic crossing over to Wayaki Way. Gong Road pretty busy, and you have some traffic coming off Raila Odinga Way through to connect with Gong Road. Langata Road, busy at that junction that leads towards Aerodrome, and then on through towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. It's not so bad on the Thika Superhighway. Folks are using the service lane, so there's an option for you. Kiambu Road, busy as it is on Limuru Road, and Ring Road Westlands, James Gishuru, and then heading out west, still pretty busy onto Wayaki Way. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. It's a few minutes after 7:30, or 8:30 rather. Let's see what it looks like in a short while. And we'll keep things moving. Let's do it.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4
All right,
Spice
the conversation
FM.
continues 22 minutes to 9. Dakari Kiriga says, I'm here listening to the show from my mobile device. Then a call comes in. I had to send a "we'll call you later" message, and then had to handle an email from PayPal about the accounts preferences and connectivity. It's at that level. Samuel Yambo, head of Consumer Electronics Division at Samsung Electronics East Africa, is our guest, talking about that CES conference that just took place, 2023, and where Samsung has just taken that front row seat, saying, let us work, all of us together, towards ensuring that there is calm in this heavily connected world. So what else is Samsung working on, in terms of R&D and thinking, all right, the world is heading in a certain direction, and we've got to make sure that we come in to make life easier, or to bring that calmness to people's lives?
True. I think what stands out for me, not just from the CES but over the recent past, is all the talk around eco-friendly product. I think at this point, I imagine everybody now is beginning to relate more closely with the climate change. This it's taking a heavy toll on many of us. I think even as a country, we probably have had to deal with the worst drought in a long time. And in areas where it rains, it's beginning to look way beyond normal. So that climate change issue is something that Samsung has really taken in very strongly. It's not for a first, way back, this is a story that Samsung took note of in the early 90s, and have taken a deliberate effort to ensure that even the products that we release out to the market are supporting that bigger goal of keeping our world, at temperatures that are acceptable to all of us. So from the CES, and of course going forward, Samsung made this clear that we'll ensure that our products are as eco-friendly as they can be, and that drive since 2022 has been pushed to some of our products. I'll tell you, most of our Galaxy devices are actually a byproduct of discarded fishing nets in the oceans. So that's a big plus. That's a plus. And we have plastics choking our marine life, in our oceans and in our water bodies across the globe. Some of them, of course, in dry places. So Samsung is partnering with like-minded players to ensure that we get those products, recycle them, and have them actually used to make our products. And of course, that cycle continues in that manner. Sorry.
No, please.
So eco-friendly products is key. Additionally, just to ensure that we are conscious about the scarce resources that our globe, our world has to deal with. Samsung is continuously making progress in coming up with very energy efficient products, you know. So power consumption is really a big issue. It directly relates with a climate crisis that we are trying to deal with. And from the CES, we gave word on what we are calling smart things energy. You know, this is essentially a facility in your devices. So it must come in form of an app that will allow you to, you know, monitor the energy consumption of your devices and figure out how to use it. I'll give you an example of something that we've done. I'm sure it will come up probably in our conversation. So most of our home appliances operate on what really makes up the engine of a home appliance product, and the big ones in this case, the refrigerators or the washing machines, is what we call the inverter technology, digital inverter technology. So in Samsung, what we've done, the DIT, in refrigerator we call it the DIC, so the digital inverter compressor. It is basically what forms the engine of how the refrigerator operates. So it's been designed in such a way that it allows you to control your power consumption. The fridge has inbuilt capacity to tell that it is daytime, so probably the usage is going to be much higher, the opening and picking up and all that sort of stuff. So the power consumption is adjusted to cater for that. When it is in the night, the fridge, because of the DIC, is on a sleep mode, you know. It slows down power consumption. And you can imagine that happening to millions of such refrigerators across the world. It's a contribution that I think we are proud of. And that cuts across into other devices. So to answer your question, I think in summary, some of the initiatives revolve around climate, consciousness, right? And also that is in the form of power, and also largely in the form of trying to recycle some of the plastics that we have so that we make better use of them.
Sure. In looking at technological advances, it's also the point of, you know, technological inclusion.
Correct.
And to see that folks, regardless of social strata, are involved or are able to participate. And then one of the participatory elements, of course, is cost.
Correct.
How then are you able to make it, even with, you know, having these technological companions and staying connected, that people then, in terms of affordability, are able to participate? How then can you make sure that those who don't earn as much and would not be able to get, you know, high-end gadget, would still be able to participate in this connectedness by maybe buying one that is not so costly? How then are you able to include everyone? So affordability, really.
So what happens is, of course, on a global scale, a new technology, once it hits the market, chances are it starts really high up in the pricing. But as improvements, understanding, material sourcing, and all that sort of stuff goes into the manufacturing process, within pretty much a short period of time, the cost will tend to go low. Okay? That, in essence, is all an attempt to try to cover up for everybody. What we are doing additionally at Samsung is to ensure that these improvements that we are making on our products are not just on one single stock keeping unit, that these are available across, from the entry model right up to the flagship model. Okay, so that it caters for everybody. If you're talking of mobile phones, we'll have feature phones, entry smartphones, all the way up to the S22 Ultra and the new releases and flagships that will come into the foldables. So everybody's taken care of. And that applies for other consumer electronics product. So for the TVs, we'll have your 32 inches built in with these climate conscious approaches that Samsung is pushing. And in that 32 inch, those same features, as much as we can, we try to build them up as you progress up into the more bigger sizes, which naturally then will mean you'll need to spend more on them. Okay, that is the other bit that is happening locally. What Samsung is doing is, we are aware your budget, for example, only allows you to buy a one-door refrigerator, but your intention is really to get the big 500-liter two-door or three-door refrigerator, right? This is what you really feel you need, but then your pockets
is saying something
are not communicating in
it's not
same language.
It's not connected.
It's not connected. So your pockets are not connected with your intentions, right? So locally, what we are doing in collaboration with our channel partners, who are basically our dealers and distributors, we are collaborating with what we are calling EPP players, EIP, easy installment purchase. Okay, they're all over. I think with the
like now the ones for Lipa Kesho, Lipa
exactly
later.
BNPL something.
Yeah.
Buy now,
pay later.
Yes. Buy now, pay later. So we have a number of those local entities and even foreign ones that are operating locally. So in collaboration with our support channel partners, we are collaborating with them so that we give all our consumers a chance to own these products, own these products. So you have a fair chance at owning your dream gadget or your dream device, irrespective of, what you feel your pocket is trying to tell you.
In other markets, this is really advanced, where you buy a Samsung device today.
Yes.
When a new upgraded model is up, in fact, they alert you that we have a new upgraded model. You can trade in what you have.
Do a trade-in, yes.
And there's a payment plan that you already had. So you're continuing with your payment plan. It's just that the amount maybe has just been increased by a few shillings.
Yes.
But you have the latest technology that is matching your needs.
Correct.
Why don't you introduce that directly here? I know there's, the trade-in option, but the trade-in option is you trade in and you purchase immediately. You top up the money immediately.
Correct.
Those monthly repayments where you get into a plan.
Yes.
I've bought my Z Flip 4.
Yeah.
On a payment plan. I've been paying X amount of money per month. If the Z Flip 5 comes up, you introduce it to me and I just bring in the 4, you give me the 5, I continue paying.
Exactly. So honestly, it's something that has really preoccupied our planning and strategy here in Kenya for some time now. And it is only fair that it be done. There are advantages to this, two fronts really for me. One is, of course, to the customer. You're allowing the customer to upgrade to the next latest technology that is available. And then two, to the environment. By taking in the old one,
you are able to recycle.
Able to refurbish it and sell it again to somebody else. Or if it can't be, then you are able to dispose it in a manner that is friendlier to the environment. Okay, so honest truth is that we've not really rolled this out in Kenya, especially for the electronics. We've made some trials on the mobile devices, not with the entire range, just a few trade-in gadgets. So this is an area that I would really wish and hope that our consumers would, just be a bit patient with us as we try to figure out the modalities.
The best way to do it.
The best way to do this, because we need to be mindful of the entire chain, right? So once you hand in this old one and we replace it, what do we do with it? So that the whole process is useful for everybody.
Yeah.
The
But
consumer.
in the markets where this is developed, what do you do with the old gadgets?
in the markets where it is developed, what we do with them is we pick them up, they are refurbished and sold again. If you had a...
They're reconditioned.
They're reconditioned, exactly. They're reconditioned.
So if you get to a point where you are decommissioning them, at least you have them.
Yes.
So in terms of electronic waste, you're managing electronic waste.
Yeah,
circular economy, you're 100% dealing with the circular.
It's better managed in that way, yeah.
Something which concerns me about the connectivity of all these gadgets. What happens when there's a glitch? What happens when the system, I want the washing machine to do something and the communication goes to the cooker. Or I want the fridge to do something and the communication goes to the TV. A glitch, in other words.
You want the washing machine to come on.
Yes, and then the cooker
and the microwave
comes on, and I'm wondering what's going on here. Or again, maybe I want the cooker to go on and the TV has gone on. I'm thinking,
what happened?
Yes.
Oh my city.
Essentially, I'm asking about after-sales service in the event of a problem. How is this managed? That's really what I'm asking.
It's true. I like the cooker example. It's you erroneously allowed the cooker to basically cook hot air, I think.
And you're waiting for your clothes.
Why are you waiting for your clothes to be washed?
In most cases, that would be a user issue. You see, like if you are pairing up, say on Bluetooth, you're pairing up your phone to your car radio. Okay. On the Bluetooth pairing option, there'll be so many possible devices that you can pair.
Yes.
Okay. So if you erroneously paired your phone, you're in traffic to the guy next to you, then that ceases to be a manufacturer's trouble. That is a user issue. Okay. That's a user issue. But that glitch, I think it's very rare you'll try to pair to this TV and then it pairs with the next one.
You have it spot on.
Yes.
It's rare. That's why I'm asking the question. When it does. Yes, it's rare.
So
when it
not
does.
Impossible.
No, it's not impossible. Gadgets do strange things.
They do strange things. Yes. I agree. And,
I mean, there are times you engage reverse gear in your vehicle and it goes forward.
Yeah.
That's definitely a user issue.
Not a user issue.
Yeah, so but fair to say, those glitches can happen. I agree with City. We've got very capable service operation running in this country and across our markets, really. So Samsung has partnered with many of what we call ASPs, so authorized service partners. So these are guys that we partnered with, we've trained them, and we continue to train them on a regular basis, on need basis, on new products, on new scenarios, so that they are capable to handle any of such glitches, be it software, be it hardware. And they're spread across, not just in Nairobi, all our major towns across the country. We have somebody. We have a toll-free number as well, so that you can reach to us, 0800 545 545, on any matter, be it software, be it hardware, and we have capable people at the end that will definitely get back to you quickly on how to sort this out. Yeah, but just a word of advice, I think the user issue part is
it's important to train users.
It's important to get everybody to understand.
You need to come up with authorized partners who are trainers. User trainer.
Yeah, lest your cooker really do what it is not supposed
to do. Let's talk about warranty.
Yes.
So, of course, many of the devices that you sell come with warranty. But what determines the duration of this warranty? 1 year warranty, 2 year warranty? Is it when you're very sure that I'm not likely to get this gadget being brought back to me? So I'll tell you 1 year, 12-month warranty guarantee. And then thereafter, after 1 year,
this
guy will bring this thing and I'll charge him an arm and a leg for service.
So warranty, I think not just at Samsung, for everybody else, is really a show of confidence you have in your product. So at Samsung, all our products have minimum of 12 months warranty, right up to 20 years.
What determines that duration? That's the question. When you tell me I have a 12-month warranty, I mean 1 year, surely.
1 year is good enough, considering the usage rate. Mobile phone, for example, how many times do you have that thing pressed?
Literally all the time you have it with you.
Yeah, for somebody to tell you that you can do that, you can press it every minute of the day for a whopping 12 months. And if it runs into a defect that is my own, then I'll take responsibility.
That's where the clincher is.
Yes.
Determining whose fault it is.
Yes. Exactly.
And the manufacturer has an upper hand because they know the gadget more than you. You only know what the service it provides. But the manufacturer knows details of that gadget that you have no clue about. So anything can suddenly become your fault. Did you look at it properly in the morning? He said, what do you mean? Are you not aware that when you have this gadget, the first thing in the morning...
How long do you charge it?
Yes, exactly.
I connect to the charger and I'm going to sleep. No, you see, that's the problem.
And what sort of charger do you use? Is it a Samsung charger?
A constant power supply in your home.
Yes. Where do you live? You realize, no, it's okay, Nani.
So how do you determine this warranty period?
So warranty is essentially determined by many things, but I think you will be... One is the usage, the ideal usage parameters of that product. Okay, that determines warranty. But I think most importantly for us, it is the confidence on that.
It's giving the assurance.
Take
this gadget.
Yeah, it will
use it as you want to use it. Within the next 1 year, it will be fine.
Be there
in some products, 2 years. In others, 20 years.
In others, 20 years.
Wow.
So for the 20 years, maybe just to comment on that, I mentioned about the DIT, the digital inverter technology. So from the start of this year, we've rolled out a 20-year warranty on our DITs. So this is basically the engine of the refrigerator and the engine of the washing machine.
Should that engine fail at any time between now and year
2042,
you'll bring it. We'll sort
you. We've got you. And for us, it's also not just a show of confidence. It is the assurance to the customer that we shall be there with you. Because for us to tell you that we have your 20-year warranty on it. It means that we are going to make parts available for that amount of period.
During the term.
Correct.
Sam Odhiambo, thank you very much for joining us. Sam is the head of Consumer Electronics Division at Samsung Electronics East Africa. Keep it here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. It's 9 a.m. Time for the news.
Since his October visit last year. During the first visit, leaders in Nyanza boycotted the visit, but which seems to be a different case this time round, as it's expected to be met with various leaders. The head of state will be received by Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga, who has asked the residents to welcome the president, saying she is ready to cooperate with him to achieve development projects in the area. While in Homa Bay, Ruto is expected to launch the first phase of the construction of 5,000 affordable houses. Homa Bay County was the first to sign a contract for the construction of houses in 2018 and has allocated 11.6 acres of land for the project. The affordable housing program has been a key plank in Ruto's economic transformational agenda, which he proposes will create jobs for thousands of youth and stimulate the economy. We continue to follow up on these developing stories. Be sure that we'll be bringing you the very latest in our subsequent news bulletins. Now, a 57-year-old man is recuperating at Nyahururu County Referral Hospital after he was attacked by a hippo at Mangu village in the outskirts of Nyahururu, Laikipia County. Josephat Kahiga, a meat inspector in the area, was just a stone's throw away from his home when a hippo charged at him. Sensing danger, Kahiga raised an alarm, drawing the attention of neighbors who came to his rescue. He was then rushed to hospital where he is undergoing treatment. Residents said the hippos from the neighboring Ewaso Nyeri River continue to wreak havoc in farms in the area in search of pasture. They have urged the government to address the perennial human-wildlife conflict in the region. And a 45-year-old woman and a 22-year-old man have been arrested in Nyamira County after they were caught punched down at her marital home. Officers from Nyamusi police station in Nyamira North moved in as irate members of the public descended on the two lovebirds with kicks and blows at Botoniada village, Egetonto area. The woman's husband, a driver at a Homa Bay-based company, returned home at around midnight only for his constant knocks on the door to fall on deaf ears. Following the intervention, the 22-year-old man, who hails from Bobasi in Kisii, opened the door only to be met by a crowd which was boiling with rage. Nyamira North Police boss Patrick Ngeiwa said the two are being held by police as the dejected husband struggles to come to terms with the unfolding events. And the Pharmacy and Poisons Board has warned that selling home DNA test kits is illegal. The board's chief executive officer, Fred Siyoi, through a statement said that selling of the home DNA test kits being marketed on digital platforms has not been authorized by the board. Siyoi also asked members of the public to report to the board any retailer found selling the related product. Since the beginning of the year, social media has been filled with discussions of the cheap home DNA kits, with a section of Kenyans welcoming the news as a good move into ascertaining the paternity of their kin. Others were of the contrary opinion that the cheap kit would break marriages. Various social media users indicated that the kit retails between 750 to 800. Question is, would you buy the kit and find out your status? Now, the East African Community member states will have a single currency within the next 4 years, according to the EAC Secretary General Dr. Peter Mathoke. The Council of Ministers is expected to make a decision soon on the location of the East African Monetary Institute, the precursor to the East African Central Bank that will issue the single currency. Addressing the media during a 5-day retreat for all the EAC staff held at Manzoni Lodge in Machakos County, the Secretary General said single currency will ease business and movement of persons within the bloc. This even as it's reported that the intra-regional trade within the East African Community is on an upward trajectory, standing at $10.17 billion in September 2022. The intra-EAC trade, accounting for imports and exports in the 7 EAC partner states, grew from 13% in 2019 at a value of $7.1 billion to 15% in 2021 at a value of $9.5 billion. By September 2022, the EAC trade value was recorded at $10.17 billion, representing a 20% share of intra-trade to global trade. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
Traffic on Vibes Radio.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. Get to see the world through a new lens and capture the moments that truly matter.
Cheers, man.
All right, so we're still looking at a little bit of traffic on James Gishuru coming out of Westlands, and Jogoo Road is also busy as he's heading out into the city. Imara on that drift as he's heading out is also pretty busy. A little bit of traffic here and there, but I think we're going to get out of it in good time today. We'll keep an eye on things. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's keep things moving and talking about half an hour and see how it pans out then.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It is 7 minutes after 9. Welcome to the final hour of the Situation Room this Friday morning, Friday the 13th of January 2023. Have you bought a tub of Kiwi shoe polish? And they're different sizes. 100 ml?
And 80 ml. 40 ml, sorry.
And?
So there's 32 grams and then there's 80 grams, right? So what we want you to do is walk into your favorite supermarket, or any supermarket really, where you'll find Kiwi. You're going to see a yellow sticker on the Kiwi black polish. And then what it helps you do is that you, under the lid, there's a code. You're going to dial *459*5#. Send that code here. You get instant airtime or bundles. And then you get a chance to enter into the draw, which could see you win 35,000 shillings in school fees. Omo, this is a good thing.
Why? Good or good, my friend? Do you know what good is? Good is like that.
That is not just good, that's good, better, best.
All of them together.
Kabisa.
Combined, my friend. Now, as you were talking about all these things that you can do with your Samsung Galaxy 4, if you actually have a subscription to Showmax and you have all these gadgets, now we're talking about better screen resolution. So the TV, like Sam was saying, TV is no longer just sitting down and watching TV. TV is where the screen is. Now you can move with your screen because you have a mobile device. If you've subscribed to Showmax, and if you get actually Showmax Pro is Pro Max is 2,100 and Showmax Pro Mobile is 1,050. You also get access to live news and live sports. So you're there. You want to watch the next Rugby 7 series, whatever it's happening, and you're far from your TV, you have your Showmax subscription on, you're watching it wherever. Okay? Or you're hearing, I don't know, something is happening in Brazil. I don't know the people who supported Bolsonaro. I don't know, they're demonstrating. I don't know, they're going where. You're wondering, going where?
How?
It's live somewhere. It's live on the international news channels. You can also just watch it live as it's happening. The president is going to Nyanza. The president is addressing it. You can watch it from wherever you are. Okay, so what is the president doing in Nyanza?
You can find out.
Okay, you can watch it. If you have what? Samsung, your device, and then you have Showmax on your phone. That's all you need to do. Siti, Ebu, tell us about this thing called the Proverb.
I will tell you something about the Proverb, but I can't get over this thing of the connectivity. And I'm thinking of my fridge telling me the Proverb because there's a glitch in the connectivity. But anyway, since that hasn't happened, or my cooker sending me an SMS.
Imagine.
Okay. A farmer who does not work under the sun or rain has nothing to harvest at the end of the farming year. Yes.
A farmer who does not
work under the sun or rain has nothing to harvest at the end of the farming year.
Well, imagine. If you didn't know, now you know.
That you should work.
Let me tell you something that is has come out of the Auditor General's report. Just to bring you up to speed as you go through the lovely weekend.
Thank you very much.
The Auditor General has raised multiple queries on the Kiambu County spending for the 2020-2021 financial year. In her report, dated June 30th, 2022, tabled before the Senate Public Accounts Committee at the end of last year, Nancy Gadongo notes that an audit of the county finances and spending had revealed gaps in retention of own hiring of staff, accuracy of pending bills, and spending without a budget for its 6 municipalities of Kiambu, Roiro, Karori, Kikuyu, Rimuru, and Thika. Ms. Gathongo reported that the county, then headed by Governor James Nyoro, declared own-generated revenue of 2.39 billion shillings for the year. But on sampling 6 sub-counties, there was a variance of about 16.5 million shillings noted between cash book entries and revenue returns.
Sorry.
The own-generated income included property income of 292 million shillings, but a review of the system showed incomplete details for 1,244 lease plots, 4,992 others without corresponding block numbers. Roiro Sub-County revenue summaries were not provided for verification. The OAG reported that a perusal of the county revenue revealed some 360 million shillings was collected in the sub-county compared to what was reported in the book, 220 million shillings. So some 139 million shillings is floating somewhere.
That's the variance.
Yes.
Okay.
So in total, there's some money that was supposed to have been declared. That is some 2.39 billion shillings revenue, but there's some 16.5 million shillings that is, so here and there. This story is, of course, replicated in all the counties.
Okay.
Now, the problem is, well, not the problem, but some of these challenges. This report was for the year 2020? 2021.
Yes.
Okay. It was presented to the Senate at the end of 2022, but it was completed on June 30th, 2022. So 2020-2021 financial year concluded on June 30th, 2021. It took a year for the Auditor General to audit the books and present the audit report.
Yes.
So she presented at the end of
the
the subsequent financial year. By now, we have a new Senate. That new Senate Finance Public Accounts Committee has not even started looking at that report for things that happened now. How many years ago?
Now
3 years, ago. Okay.
And the intervening years from 3 years ago also have their issues.
They have their issues.
Which the same committee will
So the
be
Senate
required to
committee now is looking at the things that happened 4 years ago. That's what they have right now. They're dealing with now. Then they take this one of 3 years ago. So when you're auditing, when you're raising questions about things that happened 3 years ago,
what's the point?
James Nyoro is no longer the governor.
What's the point?
The MCAs who were there are not there. James Nyoro's CECs are not there.
What's the point?
Who are you going to hold accountable?
Yeah, what's the point of doing it? Because one would assume that as you're asking these questions a year later, because the report comes out, and you know when the report is coming out, is it not?
Yeah.
Yes. So when the report comes out, you're also aware that the people of whom you're asking these questions are no longer in this office.
Yep.
Okay? And then you're asking that it be brought before a committee who they will also ask, so whom are we supposed to ask? If the people who are currently, or rather the people who currently constitute that office are none the wiser. They were not there. They were not the ones who were running the show. So how are you going to ask them to account for something that they were not present during which the activities occurred?
Imagine.
So my question is, what is the point? Okay, a different question. Is it that the Auditor General and her office, or the offices of is it that they are too busy and that there are so many issues that they have to look into that we always have this backlog? Because I ask this because I don't think I've come across a report that is present. I don't think that there's something been reported on in the news that is present.
No.
That the Auditor General has raised discrepancy or raised issues with discrepancy in spending from, okay, let's even give present 6 months, from June 2022, and you're hearing it in January. I don't think I've come across one. Have you?
No.
Why is that the case? Is it that there's too much? Is it that there's a huge load? Does the Auditor General need some assistance?
Those are the questions, because even with your own returns with KRA, all right? So you're running a company and you're supposed to submit your audit returns, right? You actually do it. You're given 6 months after the close of your financial year.
Yes.
6 months. If your year ends in December, you have until June to have filed your returns.
And the reason for that is because they also realize that, number one, maybe some time to clear up things that may have been pending here.
It gives you now time to audit. It gives you time. You close the books, bring in the auditor. Auditor does their report, finish, so you file.
And they also realize that after a 6-month period, it is very likely that things would have passed through the woodwork that time would not be able to hold. Now we're talking about 3-4 years down the line. Who are you going to ask? Who are you going to come back and say, oh, remember that thing that happened in 2019? Can we start to pull up and start to ask, what happens?
And even if you ask, so say the report has identified various areas that require correction, okay? So she has produced a report a year after the conclusion of that financial year. That's when it's going to the assemblies that are now supposed to look at the Senate and the county assembly that look at this report and say, okay, so you, the executive, implement this. We're going now to check whether you're implementing these recommendations by the Auditor General, because the auditor says, okay, there are several loopholes here in systems. You need to seal these system loopholes. You need to make this to improve your efficiencies here and there, this and the other. So by the time the county assembly or the Senate is actually saying, this is what has been recommended by the Auditor General, implement it, and we are oversighting the implementation, it's 2 years, 3 years down the road. The executive can come and tell you, we did it, by the way. We are already on top of things.
So then you cannot blame anybody who applies any kind of lethargy to such a process and says, well, we're probably not going to discuss it now because it's 4 years down the line. I'm not going to start asking questions. But then can you also see why, even if there's a discrepancy, nobody takes it seriously, because it comes so long down the line after the fact that people are going to be asking themselves these very same questions. Why should we apply any kind of seriousness to it if we're even getting this report so long after things have happened? So the billions that we keep hearing about, 139 million discrepancy, 16.5 million shortfall, that has not shown up on the books. How much money still remains in limbo? It's limbo because it's just a question. Because that's her job, to raise a query about where did this money go. It doesn't bring this thing down to it doesn't land this particular airplane ever, because who is going to take it and now bring it to the fore and say, okay, actually we need to deal with this thing, because it's come so far after that nobody, so they remain there. So if money was lost, so be it. If there was actually a discrepancy and somebody, then so be it, because the query is raised, it's not answered, it's not acted upon. So even if you say the billions of shillings that come out in queries that come from the Auditor General's office, where does this money go? The truth of the matter is it just goes, because you can't even now call in any kind of agency who would prosecute or ask questions or criminalize, because the people who would then do the due diligence to ask the question are not going to, because the statutory, even in terms of time, is gone. It's gone.
But even more importantly, look at it this way. Imagine all these counties, many of them having very similar issues, but you have one DCI, as in the office, ethics and anti-corruption, one, all these are fellows, money laundering, etc., 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 etc. All right? They'll be so bogged down with what they have that they will likely be ineffective. So, I being a conspiracy theorist, I actually think that sometimes when there's so much confusion, the confusion is actually deliberate. That's my view. Yes. You cannot tell me that a government system such as the one we have in this country, that is full of so many capable people, cannot see through this and figure out a way in which this thing can actually be real time and be effective, so that if there's any action that is required, it is taken at the appropriate time. No, I am not convinced.
Now, even think about the folks who might have their hands in the proverbial cookie jar. They also know that a query is going to be raised
Yep.
well after the fact,
They
and
know.
that no action is going to be taken. So what do you think it does for them? They know very well this is how the system operates, that by the time anybody even gets round to it, nothing is going to be done. And action in
That's it.
perpetuity just continues and continues and continues.
And with every year, it just piles on.
Yeah.
So it becomes more and more difficult for these agencies whose task it is to do something about this report. So they end up doing very little.
Yeah.
I wonder, now I just thought about it, how many cases have been now questioned and then brought to the fore, and individuals then either questioned, charged, this, that, as a result of queries that have come from the Auditor General's office?
People ask questions. Remember the Public Accounts Committee of, for example, the National Assembly, or the Public Investments Committee, or now this one, the Public Investments and Accounts Committee of the Senate. They summon people, they summon governors, they ask questions.
They do.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission sometimes commences investigations on the strength of the report by the Auditor General. Okay? But now, in terms of like the question you're asking, are people held accountable after these results? It's a whole long, tedious process, because if the Senate Public Accounts Committee has not started looking at the 2020-2021 audit report now, let's say they'll start summoning these governors or whoever is in office, they prepare their report, they'll come up with recommendations for further investigations, because the Parliament will not come up with a report that recommends jailing or anything. It'll be further investigation. So the further investigation basically is asking the EACC and the DCI to continue with the investigation about things that happened 4 years ago. So it goes nowhere. Long and short of the answer?
Nada.
Nothing.
So essentially, the auditor's report, one could argue, is just part of the entertainment that the government provides to its citizens, so that you can actually understand, get a glimpse of what actually goes wrong or what happens and so forth.
But in terms of doing anything about it, not really.
You know, for the longest time, even in the days when we had a single party state, the thing you could rely on to tell you the rot that is in the government was the Auditor General's report. The thing is, that office has consistently always spoken the truth as it is. They say this is what's happening, even when it wasn't fashionable to do so. Okay? But then, how then do we rectify the wrongs that the Auditor General picks up? How then do we ensure that the agencies, the units that are supposed to do something about that report, actually have the muscle to be able to do that? And now the deliberation that I was talking about, the deliberateness, not liberation, liberation is to talk, that I was talking about comes in. You know that there is a shortfall, there is an absence of capacity in these agencies, and you don't provide that capacity. That's what I'm saying. It's deliberate.
Yeah.
It's deliberate.
It's just like, we are doing it because it's a state office and because it's a requirement. So we
do it
just to tick the boxes.
Yes.
But the essence of it, if it's meant to help improve, because the whole essence of auditing is to look back and recommend areas of improvement.
For your systems.
Yes. If the report comes out, first of all, it comes out a year after the conclusion of that financial year. Already I have an issue with that. And then the people who are supposed to implement it are now starting to deal with it in the third year. It's just...
I mean, think about it. If, say, for instance, our examination results, okay, I think you know where I'm going with this one.
Please go.
Yes, were actioned just 2 years after the results were
So first
out.
of all, you sit the exam in November this year.
Yes, you do.
The results come out in November next year.
Yes.
And then you will now be, KUSIPs will start looking at your placement into universities and colleges in November the 3rd.
Now you tell me, how useful is that going to be?
How is it? And you're supposed to be either going to, you're going to institution of higher learning,
Yes.
or they're going to go to a TVET, or they're going to go to university. So you just kind of sit around waiting or even if you take any kind of action, it doesn't really mean anything because everything is pegged on this result, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything is pegged on that result. Everybody's going to make a decision because you cannot go later on and they say, so you've gone to this school, yeah, okay, so but where did KUSIPS place you? You'll just be like, I decided to do something. So it doesn't mean anything.
And then remember,
you're supposed to have waited for that result.
The same backlog that we are seeing with the Auditor General's report would occur in the educational system. You see, we've had these backlogs before, and that is why the parallel system even came into being at some point to cater for this. There's a reality here that, again, boils down to what I said and what I feel is the truth, the deliberateness of all this. There are some really clever people in our system who don't prevent the work from being done.
Oh, no, in fact, they encourage it.
Point out everything that needs to be pointed out.
Yes,
because you know full well at the end of the day, nothing will
be done and nothing will happen.
Every once in a while, there'll be some unlucky individual who has crossed someone who will even end up in court.
Yeah.
If he's really genuinely unlucky, he might even see jail. But it happens.
Very rarely.
Yes.
There will be drama. So, for example, during the Public Accounts Committee hearings, there will be drama. Or there were questions that were raised about the investment that was going into the second terminal at JKIA. Those questions have been raised. So we are going to summon the people who were involved. Smoke, dust everywhere. Noise. Nothing.
It dies. You know, all these things that we're discussing, perhaps some of these organizations, Showmax and MultiChoice should actually make a movie. Because, I'm thinking about it. It would make for interesting...
It's tough for the movies, actually.
It's really interesting stuff. Because if you think of the drama that happens in Parliament, first of all, the strong talk about what will happen and how it will happen. And we'll leave no stone unturned. Okay?
People must answer.
Yes,
for the sake of future generation.
Then a committee is formed to look into it, and they again will also leave no stone unturned.
They will burn the midnight oil to find out the real story behind this thing. They can
so
really
that the citizens of Kenya are not robbed of their birthright, and that the justice is not only done but seen to be done. Okay, then the report comes in. You listen, you say, okay, they were talking about something else, but okay, what about the report that they're supposed to give us? Now, this whimsical, iffy thing that they've just read and told you about is actually the report, and you're wondering, wait a moment.
What happens to the stones being
So where is the report?
Where is the stone unturned? What is under the stone? It's the question. Actually makes it seem as though some systems and processes that were duly instituted actually don't have any kind of purpose. They're just there for window dressing.
But you see, it's a collusion of sorts.
And that's the thing, that it's being orchestrated to make it seem as though these offices hold no importance. Or that what they're actually doing doesn't have a dent in the system, whereas it should.
And if you give it time, it starts off as a discussion similar to the one that we are having, and then it's entrenched and it becomes the form. Meaning, if you're in a position of authority, you'll never see jail.
No. What do you
the
mean?
worst that can happen is that you go to court. West, you might actually, there'll be a threat of a fine or something of the other.
That's the worst.
You'll spend a weekend in a police station.
Yes.
Or have a private room.
Thereafter. Now, what message do you then send to the rest of the citizenry? And then, what then do you make of our political processes and government or public service? That you work so that you can get in these positions knowing full well that any misdeed on your part, any blatant theft on your part will never be punished.
It's the Untouchables. But in this, have you watched the movie The Untouchables? But now in this case, it's the opposite. The people who actually don't have a stain on them in society are the ones who will not be touched.
Yes. There'll be people jailed in the country.
Yes.
But not the ones who have these issues and the fingers being pointed to them with regards to the ills that it's purported they have committed. No.
9:30, time for that moment. It's the Minute Maid break time. CT.
Yes, please.
It's about that. Now you're taking your apple. Minute Maid apple. Piga kasip bana.
Kasip kamoja hapo ya apple juice. Apple juice.
Very good.
Yes.
Minute Maid.
Made in minute.
For those moments when you're just feeling, I'm done. I need a breather. That's what you do. Minute Maid break. And people are commenting on social media today. No, before I get there. Today we're giving away a Minute Maid hamper to get you started on the journey to filling your breaks with flavor, sensation, and life. If you go to our social media handles on SpiceFM KE Facebook, you will find a question. Tell us how you find some me time during your day, and you could win this exciting hamper. Our main social media guy, Amalioto, will pick a winner. All right? People are saying, "Hey, CT, you look good, my friend." CT reminds me of the series called Blacklists. Raymond Reddington.
Would that hurt? The jacket, by the way. Kuna vile.
Inakwaga hivyo.
Red. CT red.
Actually.
Where's Dembe?
You know what gave me this inspiration of wearing a hat? Apart from the sun I used to work in, and a forehead that was constantly losing. Yes, I was shedding skin because just the sunlight on my forehead and face, because of the work I did. So I figured a hat would be good. Then I remembered a movie I used to watch, Indiana Jones.
Yeah, right.
That one gave me impetus.
Kabisa.
Yes, specifically the one and the Temple of Doom.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's time to step up and shine. Get instant airtime or data with every purchase of specifically marked tin of black kiwi polish. What do you need to do? Walk to your nearest store, buy a tin of kiwi black shoe polish, and once opened, find a unique code under the lid. Dial *459 *5# and send the code to stand a chance to win 35,000 Kenya shilling school fees every week, courtesy of Kiwi. Step up and shine with Kiwi. Terms and conditions apply.
Sleepwalking through the afternoon. Sleepwalking through the afternoon. Sleepwalking through the afternoon.
Don't live life on repeat. Enjoy your break moments with Minute Maid Delight, a treat that awakens your senses and fills you with vitality. So fill those break moments with the indulgent sensations of Minute Maid, featuring delicious mango, tropical, and apple flavors. Minute Maid, filled with life.
This is 00 Direct, woman host, music by women, and only women guest.
Everything is so larger than life. You kind of have to have a good understanding of who you are. You could easily lose yourself.
We have a global approach in the programs that we put together, meaning that it's not just about refining my business, it's about refining the industry. It's about touching the youth and making sure that in totality, change actually happens.
Catch 00 Direct every Saturday from 10 a.m.
Only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Sunny conditions at 19 in Nairobi, highs of 27 and lows of 14. It's sunny at 17 in Nakuru. We'll see highs of 28 and highs of 27 in the sunny Nyeri at 15. It's 18 and sunny in Eldoret, highs of 24 and lows of 10. And 29 and sunny in Mombasa, highs of 31. We'll see highs of 29 in Malindi, where it's sunny currently at 29. Sunny at 23 in Kisumu, highs of 29, and 31 will be the high in Kakamega, where the sun is up at 23. Looking into Kampala, it's 21 and sunny, highs of 26, and 28 and cloudy in Dar es Salaam with highs of 31. 18 and sunny in Johannesburg, it'll go to highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 33 in a sunny Lagos. Cloudy at 23 in Kinshasa, highs of 30, and it's 6 and sunny in Beijing going into Friday evening, highs of 7 and lows of -5. Still a windy, cloudy day in Paris, it's 9 degrees, highs of 11. And we'll see highs of 11 as well in London, where it's cloudy at 8. 11 degrees and cloudy in New York coming into Friday, highs of 12 and lows of 2.
Welcome to Spice FM, the best exclusive radio station bringing you the best mix of the best music ever.
All right, getting out of traffic hour is looking a little bit better. into the CBDs where the most of it is happening now. Much better coming off of Thika Superhighway, but heavy on Kiambu Road and Limuru Road. Still continues as they try to connect. Getting off to Ring Road Westlands is looking a little bit better now. So through the morning, I think we'll keep an eye on things. Kangunda Road, there's a little bit of an iffy situation as you're trying to connect with Outer Ring. But apart from that, it's your normal traffic that should dissipate in a short while. SpiceFM KE on Twitter through the morning. Keep things moving as much as possible.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And this is Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday. Then Sunday comes. Then Sunday 8 p.m. And then you go to Maisha Magic Plus. And then you watch what? The Last Door by John Allen Namu. Some of those cases that things that happened, in the country. Some true crime series. Things that happened and you wonder, okay, so what exactly happened here? For example, there's a case of Willie Kimani, the lawyer, his client Josephat Mwenda, and their taxi driver Joseph Muiruri. It was perpetrated by a rogue police unit. It shook the country's faith in the protectors to the core. John Allen Namu, take us through Kenya's most prolific, mysterious and unresolved criminal cases. This one is particularly resolved, but he looks back into what exactly happened. So what was it that was presented before court? Then he speaks to the people who are close to this case, the lawyers involved, the families of those that were killed, the other police officers who were investigating this, the prosecutors who took the case to court, trying to piece it all together so that it's there for eternity for people to know this is what happened to lawyer Willie Kimani, to his client, and to their taxi driver. How did they end up dead? Okay, so this is the kind of series that you'll be watching on Maisha Magic Plus every Sunday evening, 8 p.m. by investigative journalist John Allen Namu. Today is a big day. President William Ruto is heading to Nyanza region. And Nyanza residents are upbeat as the president begins a 2-day working tour of the region expected to turn around the economic fortunes. Although perceived as ODM leader Raila Odinga's tough, Ruto is keen to win over the support of residents, going by cabinet appointments and development projects lined up for the region. And while the president will be unveiling a number of projects, residents are optimistic that he'll consider the completion of the multi-billion shilling handshake projects started by his predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta, that are at risk of becoming white elephants. This is the president's second visit to the region since he was elected in office in August last year. He visited Homa Bay in October and promised to complete projects and revive key sectors. President Ruto storms Raila's stronghold with a bag of goodies. That's a headline in the Standard. What's the one in the Star?
The one in the Star is of interest. U-turn. Raila's troops now embrace Ruto.
Yeah?
The implication being they previously hadn't embraced him.
Right.
The opposite of embrace is reject.
Yes.
Yes. So now this is called a U-turn. Yes.
Tell us about it.
You see, if I look at the article that has been written in the Star, the saying president starts symbolic 2-day visit to Nyanza to be received by top ODM leaders. Why? First of all, I am a little at odds with the word symbolic. It isn't symbolic.
Why?
What is it a symbol of? When the president visits any part of the country, and the part of the country is part of the country that he's president of, why is it symbolic? Is it it's a presidential visit? Yes. The president is making a visit to this particular region of the country that he is president of.
Probably it's going by history. The fact that this is a strongly opposition region, strongly opposition zone, a majority of the votes did not go to him in the presidential election. They went to his opponent. And he is making a second visit in less than 200 days.
Yes.
Plus, the region also is the stronghold, bedrock of the opposition.
Yes.
The one person that pitted against him during the campaign.
Yes.
It may not be symbolic, but it's significant.
It's significant.
It's very, very significant.
Yeah.
And why I'm saying, and when you say it's history, yes, you do have a point. It's historical. Because when you talk about history, then a word comes to mind. It's called marginalization. And in this country where, for the longest time, politics and development were so intertwined that if you happened to be on the wrong track, the wrong side of the then sitting government, you and development will not be in the same WhatsApp group. But this is what it says, okay? After the 2017 polls, Raila's troops refused to recognize Uhuru's presidency. Okay? And with his think tanks mooting a plan up to torch his portraits as part of the resistance, this is the resist movement, Ruto will be in Homa Bay on Friday for, among others, the groundbreaking of the multi-million shilling affordable housing program. The Star has established that Housing Principal Secretary Charles Henga sent out individual invitations to MPs.
Okay.
MPs John Badi, nominated, Ongodowere, Kasipul, Peter Kaluma, Homa Bay Town, are among some of the leaders who confirmed they would attend the Friday event. Badi, who is also ODM chairman, said all Homa Bay elected leaders are upbeat about the visit.
Now, isn't that significantly different from the last visit? Because the last visit, there were tales of, we were never invited, and I had previous engagements as to why then I could not attend. These are the stories that we heard last time.
Yes.
And to see this shift is very interesting, because now folks are saying, well, yes, in fact, we are ready, we are upbeat, we are ready to go. Governor of Homa Bay herself is saying, I'm ready.
You come.
In fact, she has put a statement out. Saying, I'm ready. Last time, what did she say? I was previously engaged. Same president. It was not somebody else.
Imagine. Actually, in October, she did not turn up because,
she had, I had something. I didn't. If I had known you were coming, then, I would have. But now, no, we are ready. Come, please. We open arms even. Embrace now. Properly.
Well, the writer of this particular article brings up that same issue, but this is how he actually states it. The gentleman's going to look a witch. The changing dynamics could deal a big blow to Raila, who has insisted.
You did that intentionally.
Of course I did. Right. Can I continue?
Please.
All right. The changing dynamics could deal a big blow to Raila, who has insisted on mounting major resistance against the Ruto administration. The former Prime Minister insists that the Ruto presidency is a product of a rigged election and has refused to recognize its legitimacy. However, that is me saying, okay? But what they have said, some of the sources say, however, that's where their however comes in. The new strategy has the blessing of ODM boss with a possible Ruto-Raila truce on the cards. Okay? Right. Just 2 months ago, when the president landed in the county to attend a church service at the Homa Bay African Inland Church, he was snubbed, do what you're saying, by all elected leaders. From former governors to MPs, nobody was there to welcome the top in command who had just been sworn into office. Indicative of the change of heart, here's new leaders from the county led by Governor Gladys Wanga on Thursday confirmed they're ready to welcome the head of state and lobby for development projects.
You know what? It's either they've had a change of heart or they've had a pulling of the ears moment in private and said, look here, you guys, told you better behave yourselves. You cannot continue to operate like this. Otherwise, even these projects that we're coming to do here, we will younger the lights.
But it's of interest because if you look at this, the statement that follows sheds even more light into this. At the height of his antagonism with Raila, President Uhuru Kenyatta kept off Nyanza for years until after the handshake.
And then after the handshake, we saw things after things. Kisumu port,
speed dial,
right? We saw many things happen. Then we even saw there was this big thing that happened. What was it in Kisumu? After that, come on,
after the port,
help me. Cities.
Oh, the Afri Cities
Thank
Conference.
you very much.
Yes.
Everything.
By the way, even the Navy set up base in Kisumu.
There, proper. And now they're building ships.
Significance.
But of interest, are we seeing a shift in the way our politics is being handled? And the question I'm asking is, would ODM members, would ODM MPs actually speak the way they're speaking if the ODM boss had not given the nod?
The current ODM members?
Yes.
Because remember,
if Raila Odinga did not say, okay, guys, proceed,
okay, you do.
Would they proceed?
It's interesting, CT, because you offer a dichotomy of options here. Number one, it's possible that he said, okay, guys, you know what? Work. You just let this thing down, let down the gauntlet, go ahead and work. Or there's the realization on a personal level that you cannot work, even as a county boss or a member of parliament, in isolation of the presidency of the day. And you realize, sure, we've had our antagonist positions, blah, blah, but you know what? This caboose is moving. So we get on the right side of rain and move along with this thing.
What you're then suggesting or hinting at is there's a possibility that they decided that this is what they're going to do. Meaning, even if there was no nod, hypothetically speaking, of course, from Raila Odinga, that they'd say, look, folks,
we need this.
And let's move ahead. Now, I have to ask a question. In that region, would you not say this is political suicide?
Maybe not.
They would not be the first ones.
Maybe
After all, there was a gentleman who, even before this thing we're talking about, an ODM man who said, you know what? I'm moving.
But was it suicide for him?
Was it suicide for him?
Who would you have in mind?
The MP of Ugunja.
Yes.
Is he dead?
No, he's very much alive.
Very much
And
so.
he's-
And he's
and he
moving
was
on with his
re-elected.
He was
administration.
re-elected
Exactly.
in that party of his.
Exactly. So
it could be right. It could be that the leaders are looking at the future, okay, and they're looking at their own future, and they're seeing the end of their future being conjoined with Raila. So they may have been the ones who told Raila, you know, Mzee, listen,
no need.
There's no need of any antagonism. So Raila now looks, and so all of you are saying this.
So,
Raila knows how to read the wind. He's like, all right, let's go ahead. Or he just did not even say, let's go ahead. He just did not object openly, right? So then the leaders are the ones who they are seeing there is an opportunity for somebody else to emerge as the kingpin in this region. And so this is competition. So all of them are like, well, let's align. Let's go.
I'm not looking at this in isolation because I'm going back to Madaraka celebrations and the lead up to Jamhuri. And the rallies that had been called for.
Yes.
And how suddenly it was snuffed out and Raila was out of the country.
Yes. And it was quiet.
Very quiet.
And then there was a memorandum to Parliament.
Yes, exactly. And then there's this budding with the British High Commission. I mean, there's a lot happening, and I'm thinking, hey, what is really happening? See, I'm asking the question. And then comes this visit, and then there's compliance from people who ordinarily are anything but compliant when it comes to some of these things.
Yes.
And there are people who have pegged their political careers for eternity on their proximity to the leader of this particular party. So, in my mind, what I'm seeing raises questions. Because again, if we listen to what was said by President Ruto and the team, they said, no handshake, forget this thing. Handshake X.
Let the opposition play its role.
Precisely. Now, from where I am sitting right now in this chair, this really looks to me like a handshake.
Or at least the
by saying
beginnings
let
of
the
one.
opposition play its role and then going ahead to make a recommendation to Parliament on how the opposition can be assisted to make its role, that's handshake. You just call it another name. Okay, it's handshake. It's saying, okay, so let's find a way in which we shall recognize the official leader of the opposition. Maybe we can even cut corners here and there. We can support this. We are going into the opposition zone. We are supporting them. This is a handshake.
It is. And if it is a handshake, then are we then saying that we are in the throes of something fundamental and significant in the history of our politics?
Which is?
We are actually seeing the change in which we manage our politics.
Are we barring opposition politics in Kenya?
That is a good question. Or are we taking the view that we are going to be mature about this thing? We will keep telling you where you go wrong. But we are not going to object, neither are we going to be obstructive to things that could benefit the citizenry of this country.
Last week in Mombasa, which by that time, it was already known that the president was going to be going to Homa Bay. Homa Bay did not come up yesterday.
No, it didn't.
So even last week, when Raila Odinga was in Mombasa, what did he say? He said, the relationship between the county and national government is in the constitution. Okay? The two are distinct, but must cooperate and work together. That is why governors must work with the national government. It doesn't mean they are or have defected to UDA or that the Kenya Kwanza coalition. The governor has to work with the national government because it is in the constitution. So, welcome the idea is basically what he was saying. This is a law. You're gonna do it, not just.
And this is Raila.
This is Raila Odinga.
The one
in
and
Mombasa
only.
last week.
And this is when the president was in Mombasa and he was meeting with all the governors from the region,
Yes.
being welcomed by the governor of Mombasa,
Last
who
week.
is an ODM member.
Last week.
All right.
Do you understand now what I'm saying?
Right.
He's basically telling you this is not anything for
So there's a handshake
conflict.
that's taken place.
This is in the law. So we are only doing what we're supposed to do. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are now on the same side. So just like you're saying, we can work together, but it doesn't mean that we will not point out where we see that you're going wrong.
So
Opio Wandai, what is his position? Please remind
Leader
us.
of minority in the National Assembly.
Thank you very much. The Luo people are known for their hospitality. We also cherish democracy.
You know, when you begin to etch me, I was waiting for hostility.
And Ruto and his entourage are therefore
Welcome.
Do you see?
Handshake has taken place.
Finished.
You know,
there's a handshake. So yes, the president keeps saying openly, let the opposition play its role. Let the opposition raise its questions and ask these questions that you want to ask. In fact, we want to support a strong opposition in the House. But what else is happening behind the scenes?
You know, that's the thing that's really puzzling me. Because everything that I can see, or read, hear, okay, it's not something that has happened before in this country. Because this is really very unusual. It's like someone who has determined that they want to go to Mombasa, and then they get to that turn off to Machakos. And they've been planning to go to Mombasa all along, and they've spoken about the trip to Mombasa. Despite the traffic that's going on both sides, they just turn around quickly and let's start heading in the opposite direction. You wonder, hey, what happened to this trip?
Where were you going in the first place?
You said you were going there, and you explained why you were going there, and then you suddenly changed.
So one has to question,
yes,
was your intent all along to go to Mombasa?
Yes. Or was that for us
for us to think that maybe you were busy doing something else? Meanwhile, you were preparing for that other thing that you wanted to do.
As I like saying, or were you negotiating?
You know, there's something else that you've mentioned, City. Whatever it is, the outcome here is some level of maturity in the politics of Kenya.
Yes.
The level of maturity where it's not about acrimony. Opposition does not necessarily mean that you have to say no to everything. No. 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 As long as it's City talking.
It can't be right.
It is no. It's changing.
Yes, it is.
Now, the next thing that we expect is that for this to happen, let the governors do the job that they're doing. Let the members of the National Assembly actually do the job of members of the National Assembly. Don't just sit back and say, hey, unajua nikiongea sana, unajua kuna project iko kwa county yangu, unajua my constituency, unajua itanyongwa. Actually do the job that you're supposed to do. You expect that it'll be honesty on all fronts. But maybe it'll take a while to get there. The first thing is, this cessation of hostilities is a second version of a handshake in a different name. No, it's a third version of a handshake. The first handshake was a forced handshake, which ended up with a constitutional amendment to entrench the handshake. The second handshake was a gentleman's agreement, which lived up its entire tenure. This third handshake, because I am also seeing that there's a possibility of some form of a handshake, could be a handshake that says, all right, we recognize you in your role that you play in the opposition. We recognize you in the role that you play as the leadership of government. We work together. You bring things. We see how things go. The next level of maybe maturity that we'll get to is where bring, but we will tell you to your face that, yes, this is good, but the way you've brought it here is not the right way.
It's not the right way.
You shall bring it here in the right way. Okay? Yes. We signed as Homa Bay County an agreement for affordable housing, and this is, you are now coming in and we are hearing things that, you're starting affordable housing. No. This is a procedure. We have a bill before our county assembly on how this shall be governed. Let it align with the bill at the National Assembly or the policy by the Ministry of Housing. That should be now the next level of maturity. But I think it's a good way to go.
You know, when you think about it, if you look at the previous handshakes, yes, the party members were involved, the MPs were involved, those who were on both sides were involved, but the principles were at the forefront. Now, on this one, you're seeing direct entry and participation of members of parliament. Leaders are now at the forefront of it. You are not seeing the leader of the party making edicts or making statements about this. The people who've taken that front row seat in the visibility of what is being said are the other leaders, the members of parliament.
Yes.
Yes. You know, when I first saw the governors at the Nanyuki meeting, I thought, hey, no, this one, how? But then, when you consider what had preceded it and what Raila had said, it didn't make sense. Now, I have a little problem though. In such matters, I always have a problem. Now, you'll forgive me.
Where is the problem?
The problem is this. Whenever I find that people who are in authority seems to be agreeing, my thinking is that the citizens are about to suffer.
We are being shafted. Yep.
I start feeling, unless I see something that I haven't seen before, it doesn't.
And there's history to back it. There is history to back it. Whenever we have seen these agreements, the Monanchi suffers. They'll come and tell you this was the best government. They'll tell us, they keep saying, the best government was the Nusumkata government. Yes. I keep saying, in that government, that's when hundreds of thousands of acres of land was stolen in Tana River.
Yes.
In that government, a lot of things went wrong.
Oh, but I think that went
Passports was being dished out on the streets like that. You are
talking about passports. This monster of electricity, its production and the cost.
Yes.
When do you think those things were signed?
That's it. Those deals.
The things we're now dealing with now and which are giving us a permanent and constant headache. Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's when they were signed. So the second level of handshake, in that last one, we had no parliament at all doing the role that the parliament should have played.
Yes.
Because they all felt that it belonged to the government and therefore they should. So yeah, I agree with you. When you see them agreeing, ujue kimeumana. Sema kimeumana. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning into the Situation Room today. We'll be back on Monday when with more conversations. Next week we'll be looking for all these officers to have them in the room so that we can get to understand what their thinking is and to seek answers. Sunday, what happens? We watch
The Last Door.
At what time?
Second episode of The Last Door, 8 p.m. on Maisha Magic Plus, 168 on DSTV or Channel 8 on GoTV. And it's another episode from John Allen Namu, opening and answering questions about things that happened.
Things that happened. Yes. Thank you for tuning in. So, Amlioto will pick a winner and he'll announce the winner of Minute Maid. What is it that you do to take a break? Your me time sessions when you take a break and just re-energize yourself. For what? For the energy. For what else? For the refreshment. For the refreshment. For what else? For the flavor. And the flavor sensations. All that courtesy of Minute Maid. Remember, we are going into another week next week. Another winner will be selected for Kiwi to win 35,000 shillings worth of school fees.
Yes.
Just buy Kiwi, look under the tab, and you see the instructions on the top of the tab. Follow those instructions at the top of the tab, and you could win school fees. Have a lovely weekend, folks. We'll see you again next week on Monday. Good morning. It's 10 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Vibes Radio.
Good morning. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Kenya's former President Uhuru Kenyatta has said that M23 rebels have agreed to continue an orderly withdrawal